Nasty on a Thursday. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Andrew Marsh and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. 201, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Got a fun show for you prepared today. Matt Holliday will join us in 15 minutes. Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues, will join us in the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to play NFL Better Bet. Hot Take or Hot Garbage is today.
I like that one.
Take a look at tonight's Thursday night football game, which is going to be fantastic. It's an NFC North matchup between the two teams that will be battling throughout the course of the year for that division title. No offense to Marshy's Vikings. I don't know if they're going to get back into it. And if you're a Bears fan, I don't need to say anything right now. You know how your team looks.
Yeah.
But why don't we go ahead and continue to talk about how frustrating this Cardinals team is, because last night was once again, Jamie, another example of an area that they need to improve.
What are you talking about?
Didn't we get the text message yesterday about the defense? And there's some of the metrics. I think it was about Contreras.
It was more about Contreras.
There's some of the metrics that look pretty good. That's the problem with statistics. You can bend them any way you want, Jamie. You can bend it left. You can bend it right. You can bend them like Beckham. I don't care.
Wow, well done, by the way. That was good.
You've been
thinking about that all day, haven't you?
No, that actually just came to me.
Did it really?
Yeah. I admit if I
surprising.
I had that one in the holster for a while. Yeah. I didn't. That one came right off the noggin. So.
Anthony's a soccer guy. That's why
I am.
He used the soccer lingo.
I say nil a lot. You do notice it.
Anthony does like to bend it.
I certainly do, Jamie. Who doesn't? So last night you had a couple of errors that cost you. Well,
Anthony, three in a span of a minute and a half.
Yeah,
not even.
Which literally cost you the game. At least a run that cost you the game. And this has been an area that has been an issue. Now you only had officially one error.
Well, the other one was a brain fart.
This is the thing, because you can look at errors and you can look at certain percentages and say, well, the Cardinals defensively aren't that bad. But you as Cardinals fans, you've been watching this. Maybe not lately, but you watched it early. You watched it through the first half. You have eyes. Use your eyes to look at what's wrong defensively. It might not be an error, but if a guy's not getting to a ball, he's not cutting it off, he's not handling it right in the outfield, if he's missing cutoffs, that's all fundamentals. That's all defense. That's all run prevention. It's not just the pitching. We can go problem A, pitching. 1A, though, I'm putting it right there, defense.
Yeah.
If you don't improve your defense, I don't care who you get in the offseason, whether it's 3 pitchers, 4 pitchers, the 618 wants 19 new pitchers, fine. I don't care how many pitchers you get. If your defense sucks again, you're going to have issues.
So here's where I am at with it, is I think last night was a clear indication as to how you need to utilize the rest of this season, because all of those bad plays / errors were made by young players.
Yeah.
Palacios goes out there, does the old bird flip, just flips the ball to nobody. And Kirkudo, I think that's his name, that's how you say it, he's not even looking at all. And so this dead bird gets thrown in from the outfield. It drops and rolls 50 feet.
Yep.
Kirkudo's not looking. The guy's like, oh, okay, bad news bears. I'll take third. And then Herrera makes a really young player mistake.
Yeah.
Lukenbaker hustles over. The big boy got going there, too. He almost fumbled the ball. He got a hold of it, and I was like, look at this guy go. Fires that to home plate, which is the right play. Plenty of time. That guy was out. No, he wasn't. Because Herrera just tagged the bag or whatever.
You're not playing first.
He's got to obviously swipe the tag down there. As soon as it happened, he knew, like, oh, my God. Like, he even looked at the ump, and he's like, yeah, I tagged the bag. The ump's like, yeah, I know, bad play. I'm assuming that's what he said.
Sure.
But those are 3 guys now that epitomize where some of your problems have come from. And it goes back, for me, to the flexibility, air quotes, that they have in the outfield and as positional players. You got to lock it down. So you got Goldie and you got Arenado. And I don't care if Nolan Arenado made 3 bad plays. Guess what? You're remembering them because he doesn't make bad plays.
Yeah.
I'm giving him a pass. I'm giving Goldie a pass on any defensive mishaps that have happened this year. Why? Because they're pretty fantastic defensively. You don't believe me? Check out the collection of Gold Gloves. And check out the metrics. I don't care. But after that, like, where's your solid defense? Mason Wynn has been great. Nolan Gorman's, he's okay, work in progress. But again, he's not a second baseman. So now you have a deficient player, we'll call it, for lack of better words, without having to explain everything. A deficient player at second base, which is a pretty big spot to be. A lot of balls get hit to second base. A lot of action with the second baseman. And you got a guy that's, so-so. Your outfield is new to center fielder. He plays there. Where did he start? Right field. Then he moved to left field. Now he's in center field. Why? Because Dylan Carlson is hurt again. So then Brendan Donovan goes from second base. You had to move him because you had to make room for Gorman. So Donovan goes out to left field. Is he a left fielder? Does good. But is he truly, does he have a ton of reps on the field? I don't know. Tommy Edman, Gold Glove, second baseman. Gold Glove nominee at shortstop. Let's play him in center field. No disrespect to Tommy. He probably could be in the running for a Gold Glove at center field, too. It's fine, but it's not his natural position or not one that he's played recently. Yeah. Then you've got guys all over the place. Burleson's playing first. He's playing left field. Walker's playing right field, but he's a third baseman by nature. You have all of these projects that are in the works, and then you've got 3 young guys last night making bad decisions all at the same time. Actually, Kirikuta's not even that young. I think his last at-bat in the major was like 2016, so he's got to have a little bit of age on him, but now you know why his last at-bat was in 2016. He's obviously, there's a miss there.
Yeah.
So the Cardinals, for me, from this point to the end of the season, this is when you just absolutely hunker down on fundamentals with these guys. Hey, Willie McGee, whoever you got for your infield guys, I don't care about batting practice. From here to the end of the season, I don't care. Don't take BP. I don't care. Get out there and shag balls in the outfield, ground balls in the infield, video room for any questions. This is essential for the Cardinals, or they'll have a repeat of all this crap again next year, which, to your point yesterday and today, is they've gotten away from being a defensively sound baseball team.
Yes, they've sold out for the offense. Jamie, we started on Monday talking about the 49ers at one point. We didn't lead the show with it, but we talked about the 49ers, and we talked about positionless football. Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, these guys can move all around. Screws up the defense. Is that Debo there? Debo's in the backfield now. Are we playing man-to-man? Are we playing zone? How do we... Oh, McCaffrey's in the slot now. Okay, next play. McCaffrey's in the backfield. Debo's in the slot. I don't know what's going on. What do we do? Positionless football. That's fun. Positionless baseball doesn't work. Moving guys around like you just described and just having position, it's positionless. You show up, you'll find out where you're playing. It doesn't work, at least not for this team.
No. You need reps.
The other thing is, you're either, the old Bill Parcells, you're either coaching, I was either Parcells or Belichick. You're either coaching it or allowing it. You are either coaching this or you're allowing this. I don't care that it was Palacios. I don't care that it was Kikuta. I don't care that it was Herrera. They're all under your umbrella. If you're doing it with these guys, you're doing it with the other guys that are coming up. Herrera's been in the system now a couple of years. Young player. He's been in the system. Does he not know that you need to tag the runner in that situation, that he's not playing first base?
I also blame the guys on the field because, I'm sure Goldie in that situation would have said, hey, ground ball, place to home.
Herrera's got to know.
I know.
Herrera has got to know
this, but it's a team problem.
Okay,
too.
Jamie. Yes, you're right. It is. And when you say team, not just players.
Yeah.
Jamie, I've heard you talk about this with hockey and fundamentals. It's the same deal in baseball. If you're going to play defense, it's a mindset. It's more fun. I heard you talk about this in the opening drive yesterday. It's more fun to hit home runs. It's more fun to score goals. It's more fun to score touchdowns. Defense is a mentality. When you're out there playing baseball and you are on defense constantly, ball hit to me, where am I going with it? Now there's your runner at first. Ball hit to me, where am I going with it? Ball hit in the gap, where am I going with it? Ball hit right at me, where am I going with it? Where am I going with it? Over and over and over again. It's a mentality. It's not fun, but it's part of the game, and it's a damn important part of it. So last night...
What cost him a game last night?
Exactly. I don't care who the player... I know we might get text. It's the guys that I probably ain't going to play next year. I don't care. It's still happening.
Yeah, but that's a microcosm of what you had all season.
If this was just one isolated incident, I wouldn't be as passionate about it. We've seen, to your point, we've seen this. All right, Matt Holliday is going to join us next. I want to talk to him about kind of the fundamentals. How much at the major league level is it about developmental stuff, day to day fundamentals, work on the fundamentals? How much is it? Well, I asked Matt Holliday that next when he joins us here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Batting for the Fast Lane, Cardinals Hall of Famer and fifth member, Matt Holliday. We're hanging with Holliday on 101 ESPN.
Powered by Air Alliance Team Heating and Cooling. Getting the job done quickly, correctly, 100% of the time.
Put your hands up.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter. Let's head to our celebrity line. We're joined by our guy, Matt Holliday, Cardinals Hall of Famer, World Series champion, all-around great guy. What's up, Matt?
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Doing great. And I know, so is the Holliday family. Congratulations to Jackson. He gets he was named Baseball America's Minor League Player of the Year. He's got to be pretty stoked. I'm sure you, Leslie, and the kids are too.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of him. He's had a great season. To go out as a 19-year-old in his first full season and get all the way up to AAA and, sort of have the season he had was pretty awesome, and how he's handled it all has been really impressive. So we're proud of him, and, he's got the AAA, so they're 1-1 in the AAA playoffs, so he's got a game tonight. If they win, they'll play the AAA championship game in Vegas on Saturday. So he's still playing, and looking forward to the off season with him, but it's been a great season.
Well, thank goodness that your wife is a great athlete. I mean, look at the genes that she passed on to your boys. I mean, you should thank her for sure.
No doubt. I mean, she's pretty athletic, so without her, probably more so working with their brains more than anything. So she has done equally as much to help influence these boys and their baseball.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I meant that obviously in jest, but I remember growing up, my brother and I playing hockey, and Dad was there for, the hard-nosed, truth, and Mom was there to pick up the pieces. And I think she actually may have been a bigger part of, us psychologically, getting better all the time and just dealing with things because you had Mom there. So I'm sure Leslie is the same thing in your family. Those boys owe a lot to both of you.
Yeah, for sure. And she dealt with me in my career and helped me handle it. And so she had lots of practice and perspective of watching my career and how to help me through my career and the mental part of that. So she's like you said, just as big a part, if not more, at helping them to handle, what comes with trying to play pro sports.
So, Matt, with Jackson moving up the ranks so quickly, I mean, that's awesome, first of all, but there's challenges along the way. And, he goes from being maybe the best at one level, you move up to the next level, you're working to be the best at the next level. He's now found himself in AAA ball. Each time he moves up, what's the biggest challenge? Is it at the plate, or is it in the field, or is it just overall? I'm just curious.
It's probably the main thing would be the pitching. As far as the command, you start to face more major league type pitching, as far as they don't miss the ball in the middle of the plate as much. They don't get behind in the count as much. So I think that's probably the biggest adjustment. He seems to have a really good routine that's very bulletproof, if you will. Just knows what he's doing. He plays the game the same way every day, no matter who you're playing against. And so I think he's done a really good job and the Orioles have done a really good job of having a game plan for these kids and having a pitcher plan, and they give him a lot of information, but he's done a really good job of taking all the information that these teams are giving him and putting him into practice. So I think that, Jamie, probably the biggest adjustment at each level is the pitching sort of improving, mostly from just command. All in all, probably that than more than anything else.
Matt Holliday joining us right now on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Matt, we just had a conversation about the Cardinals team defense, which was shaky last night, and defensively it's been an issue throughout the course of the year. My question is, when take us behind the curtain a little bit, how much do you guys work on fundamentals throughout the season at the big league level? Or is it a situation where once you guys get up there, you kind of run through drills every day, but there's not as much focus on the fundamentals, specifically defense?
Well, I think a lot of it's done in spring training, as far as sort of the bunt plays and the techniques on what you're going to do in certain situations. And then I think most defense is done on a day-to-day sort of guy-to-guy basis, as far as, what you do, what you need. If you need to make some throws, we went out a lot early with Dave McKay, and we would go out on the field and at 2 o'clock, and we would work on some things as a group of outfielders, or you could do it individually. And, I know the infielders, they take ground balls a lot of times before batting practice even starts. So I think you're expected to know the fundamentals when you get to the major leagues. But I think that the sharpening and the consistency of them, you pick and choose your spots. Obviously, if you're an everyday player and it's hot in the middle of July, you can't go out there for an hour and work on your defense and really. So, having a routine where for, 15 minutes a day, you're really working on your craft on defense, I think is what I saw. And I tried to do, and I see Nolan. That's what Nolan. I watch him take ground balls. He's got this specific routine that he maybe changes a little bit here and there just from a timing standpoint. But he's got certain throws he works on, and he's got certain things. And so I think from a fundamental side, just in general, it's your responsibility to work on your craft individually. But once the season starts, it's you're playing almost every day. It falls on you to find your routine to make sure you stay sharp with that.
Hey, Matt, how often are defensive situations discussed with the players and the coaching staff? And, how often is video used? Because we had a situation last night. I don't know if you caught the ending of the Cardinals game with 3 younger players making consistent mistakes that cost the team a run. And it was, just basically recognition of the situation and then making the play. I just wonder how much situational baseball is discussed.
Jamie, most of that happens in spring training. Like every day you have a team fundamental, and a lot of time there's video brought into it and say, hey, here's the video, here's the play, this is what we want to do, and this is what it looks like when it's done right, this is what it looks like when it's screwed up. So it's like I said, it's mostly talked about and really gone over 5 or 6 different days in spring training, so they kind of rotate. You have 5 or 6 scenarios or defensive fundamentals, team fundamentals, we call them, in spring training that you rotate them through. And every day you have where you go through that team fundamental, whether it's first and thirds or bunt defenses or pickoffs or, cuts and relays. And you really, you make sure that everybody's on the same page. And then a lot of time in spring training, you have all the 40-man roster and then some. So you make sure that even the guys that aren't going to initially be on the big league team are learning the strategy and learning the plays and just making sure everybody's on the same page of how you run them and the signs and everything that goes into it. So like I said, a lot of that's done to spring training. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to watch last night's game. I was at Jackson's game, but sometimes when you have younger players, late in the season, maybe they weren't with the team in spring training or, just younger players, sometimes the game gets sped up on them a little bit and at the major league level, and you make mistakes or, they haven't obviously experienced as much as veteran players, and that kind of thing can happen. So, so I think that, like I said, a lot of that goes on in spring training.
Matt Holliday joining us right now on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. A couple more things for the Cardinals Hall of Famer. Matt, this has popped up a couple of times, and I don't know why I hadn't thought of asking you since you played left field. But for me, when I was in high school and college, I always wanted to play left if I was going to play the outfield. For whatever reason, when the ball came off the bat of a right-hander when I was in right field, I hated how it faded to the line. I don't know. It was just one of those things. I wasn't comfortable in right. With Jordan Walker, they've got him playing right a lot, and I imagine it's because of the arm. But what about you? When you played in the outfields, were you more comfortable in left as opposed to right with the number of right-handers that are in the league? And why do you think they got him in right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think that they put me in left and kind of just obviously wanted me to hit and play, be comfortable in one spot. And so I only played right a few times. I think I started in right field in 2 All-Star games. But
nice.
I think, Anthony, you're going to get the tail, obviously, from a right-hand hitter in right field, but you're going to get it from the left-hand hitter in left field.
Sure.
So, I think it's all about repetitions. I think maybe right field, like you said, because he does have an incredible arm. I don't think that, particularly at Busch Stadium, there's not an easier one or the other, where like, say, he was Fenway Park or, some of these places that have or Pittsburgh in right field where, there's just not as much ground to cover. And and it's just, hey, put him in left field just because we feel like we have maybe some more experienced outfield athletes and we can put in the bigger space. So really, I think with the Cardinals and Busch Stadium, it doesn't really matter as far as what advantage goes on outfield covering ground. But I don't know. Maybe they've asked him as his preference now that he's had a chance to maybe play a little bit in both, and want him to be wherever he's most comfortable. But I do think that arm is obviously very strong and plays profiles as a right fielder. So I think that's something that is exciting to think about is him getting a full off season of really dedicating the off season to getting comfortable and starting to really read balls in one position, and I'm sure the Cardinals are on top of that.
Matt, great stuff. Love the perspective. Again, congratulations to Jackson on earning the Baseball America's Minor League Player of the Year, and it's going to be fun to continue to watch him grow, and I know you're excited as well. But thanks so much for joining us. Have a great weekend.
All right, you guys too. Good talking to you guys.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, buddy.
See you guys.
That's Matt Holliday here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
So much great stuff always.
He's great. He is. And the thing that really stuck out, Jamie, and I've made this comment before, and I've almost kind of backtracked at times because I'm like, well, you should always be kind of learning. But he had said it. He goes, when you're at the big league level, you're expected to know certain fundamentals. He didn't say you don't work on it anymore, but you are expected to know.
I get it because there's certain things in hockey like you should know. But I'll flip this a little bit. Mm-hmm. I also blame the coaching staff for that attitude as well. Make sure he knows.
Yeah, sure.
What
if he doesn't, he's got to know.
In the fast lane, trust,
but verify.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know how it works in the clubhouse or the inner workings of Major League Baseball teams, but to me, it should always be constant reminders,
mm-hmm.
Especially with your young guys, especially if you got some like Jordan Walker, Nolan Gorman, Mason Wynn. You have a lot of guys that are new to the majors, and you have some guys that are fringe players, utility players. Well, utility players, as great as they are and as valuable as they are, they have to know more about fundamental baseball than anybody because they're always playing a different position.
Sure.
So, and I know the baseball season is very unforgiving for coaching because you don't have a lot of time to do it.
This also it raises the question of, okay, what's going on in the minors? Because that is the developmental time.
Yeah. It's true, but Anthony, sometimes I say this, that the minor leagues, what happens is those guys are so good at that level, things get overlooked sometimes. It's not the manager or the coach's fault. It just happens.
Well, don't overlook it.
It's the nature of the beast that those coaches want to win too. And sometimes you'll overlook things and allow players to do certain things or get away with certain things or just assume that they know what's going on because you're winning and that's your best player. And,
right.
This is why the best developmental teams and coaches are not necessarily teams that win. They're coaches and teams that are willing to sacrifice winning to develop the player. So when the player moves up to the big leagues or to the NHL, he's ready to go.
That's a great point. That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. What direction is the game of hockey going in? Marsh and Jamie had some interesting thoughts on a situation that happened last night in the National Hockey League, and we'll apply that to the Blues next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals lose to the Milwaukee Brewers last night by a final score of 3-2. They'll be back in action today. 3:10 first pitch. Dakota Hudson on the mound going up against Corbin Burns. Tonight, we have preseason action for you. Blues and Blackhawks. Pregame starts at 6:30. Puck drop is at 7:30. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Probably the last time I'll ever play against that guy. Not really much of a player, so leave it at that. I think I scared him a little, didn't I? No, honestly, I was looking around for some of their talented players and trying to run at them, and he was really the only one. So it's unfortunate you're playing against a team like that. They're trying to make a name for themselves.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. That's your guy.
Scumbag.
Matt Stone, or not Matt Stone.
Mark
Stone.
Doesn't matter. Who cares?
We'll get his name right when we
So
start
did
to
you
like
see
him.
that play last night?
Yes.
So for those who are listening who haven't seen it, you can pull it up anywhere on social media. Last night there was a player for the LA Kings who's just out there. He's, for lack of better words, he's not a household name.
Yeah. He's trying to make himself a name.
Well, he's trying to make the frickin' team.
Yeah, he's going hard.
Yeah. Imagine that, going hard to make a team. Boy, let's scold him for that. So he runs over Mark Stone, and then the melee ensues, which it should. When a no-name player, for lack of better words, I'm not disrespecting the player, runs over your captain and Stanley Cup champion, you should beat the snot out of him.
Yeah.
And they did. 4 or 5 guys jumped him, and they did the old barroom stomp on this guy. And big deal. Yeah. All right, it happened. Then Mark Stone goes on with the media and says, a guy that I'll probably never play against again, he's not a very good player, is exactly. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? What if this guy gets called up first week of the season? Now what? Now you look like an idiot. And if I was that guy, I'd be like, listen, I know I'm not good, okay? I know I'm not good. I know I can't play on your team. But Rob Blake, who's their GM, I ask you one favor. Call me up for the very first game against the Vegas Golden Knights. I only want one game. If you've ever had a favor in your arsenal, give me that game. And I would go right after Mark Stone immediately. You remember me? I'm back. Like, I just don't get that. Like, the shade of, like, who are you? That whole chirp, I never got it. Because everybody at some point is a who are you? Like Mark Stone when he broke into the league with Ottawa. Who are you? Like, what the hell have you done? Yeah. Nothing. So I don't like the chirp. If you're going to get all pissy about something, attack the guy in a different way. Not like he won't be in the NHL. He's not my caliber of player, all that crap. Why? Guy's in the NHL right now fighting for a job.
Yeah.
Say something clever.
Well, he said,
yeah, he got his beat down. If he comes near me again, the same crap's going to happen.
in the same scrum, Stone said, I was looking for a good player and found him. When I got up, I was looking for a good player. Because
he grabbed some other little guy that never even fights in his life and shook him around a little bit.
It was a clean hit, too.
It was a clean hit. But I don't mind him going after the talented guy because, honestly, that's what I did sometimes. Their heavyweight would be he's out of my weight class a little bit. Well, guess what? Mike Modano's about to get an elbow in the face. Why? Because then Mike Modano will be running around scared, and then this Neanderthal is going to chase me around all night. I'm winning at that point. So I don't disrespect that part of it. But it does show, I'll tell you what has happened. You watch the NHL right now. Watch the preseason.
It's physical.
Dude, let the bodies hit the floor. There is physicality. There's fights in every single friggin' game right now. I don't know what the hell's happening. but I like it.
Well, what is the direction? Do you think that this is just something that it started off small, and now other teams maybe are watching some of the action, and they want to get on it too? Is this like a trend? I mean, how do you? Or it's just coincidence. It's just early on, and guys are, I don't know, they're starting with some urgency.
It's not coincidence because last couple of years, training camp, you look at preseason games, were friggin' sleep fest. Nobody wanted to run into anybody. They're all best friends, tapping each other on the shin pads. Say, I'll catch you later.
It's like the NBA.
Yeah, it wasn't the way it needed to be. I think what's happened is general managers and coaches have looked at the formula that has won Stanley Cups in the last handful of years, and it's been nasty. The Tampa Bay Lightning, is so skilled as they are, they had some nastiness in their lineup. They had the big rig. They had Zach Bogosian. They had McDonough. Like, they had some guys that can bring some heat. And then you look at the Vegas Golden Knights, no real heavyweights as far as, like, fighting is concerned, but they ran over everybody. Mm-hmm. So the theme now for me, and look at the Blues. How about this? I was telling Marshy, the Blues might be ahead of the curve here right now. Because what they did in their retool is they added a whole bunch of size and physicality to their lineup. So we talk about the zig when everybody else is zagging. This might be that moment where Army has kind of figured out the recipe here and gotten ahead of it. Now, does it mean they're going to win the Stanley Cup? No, I still think they have some ways to go. You know, anything's possible, but my point is that the physicality is coming back to the NHL. The skilled guys are still there. The skilled guys are 6'1", 6'2" now, and the physical guys are the same way. A lot of your skilled guys are your physicality. Look at the Tkachuk boys. Look at Wilson. Look at some of these guys that are running around out there that are super skilled but are also super physical.
Yeah.
So I like the way the Blues have constructed their roster so far. It's to be determined who ultimately ends up here. But you look at every single line. You know, the top line with Booch, Thomas, and Kyrou, they're obviously not that physical. Booch is a little more physical than people give him credit for. Hell, he's not afraid to headbutt you if you get in his way. We saw that. Kind of like that. He can play on my team. But then the second, third, fourth line, and then your extra forwards, those are all guys that are willing to mix it up. Neighbors, Shen. Saad's not a fighter. He'll get in and hit. Sammy Blais, Oscar Sundquist, Nick Ritchie, McEachern, Walker, Toropchenko. All of these guys are a pain in the ass to play against, and they're physical, and they're starting to bring that brand of hockey back. So I like, after watching the preseason so far, and certainly watching the amount of scrums/fights and things that are going on, I think the Blues are going to be even better in this new NHL, in this environment, because they've got the horses to compete.
Yeah, I love it.
I absolutely love it.
I love the direction.
Anthony, I can't wait to be calling these games.
It's perfect. It's almost like they knew, hey, with Jamie Rivers back.
Army and Chief got together and they said, how can we make sure that Riv is engaged for every game?
Yeah.
Not that I'm not dialed in all the time, but they want me really dialed in.
Yeah.
They said, let's bring in some physicality.
I can see it. I can see Army calling in Chief and, really everybody in the building. Marketing, PR, everything.
Mr.
They brought them all in. Yeah. Tom Stillman, and they sat everybody, the Army sat everything, they sat everybody down. I'm just visioning this.
Big, huge conference room.
And he had and on the wall, it was just the whiteboard, and that was it. But then he pulled down the screen.
Yeah. I'm envisioning it.
And he fires it up, and he's like, these are our goals. Welcome to the 2023, 24 Blues. Here's our goals. And it's just one. Make Jamie Rivers proud.
Yeah.
That's all it said.
Getting teary-eyed.
Make Jamie Rivers proud.
Yeah. I love this guy.
And Army just, how do we do this? Mm-hmm. I want your ideas. And then the ideas started to roll in. Yeah. And somebody at some point, probably Chief, said, why don't we bust skulls? And I think Army goes, yep.
I think it was Otter. Actually,
maybe Steve Ott.
Yeah, because Chief is a little more reserved now in his old age. Not that he's old, but he's
won a cup now. He's more
grizzled veteran.
Yeah,
he's been there.
He's calmer now.
He's fought 4,000 people in his life. He's fine.
Yeah,
but Otter's always chomping at the bit, chirping people, giving to people, playing against that guy. Boy, he was a pain in the ass too.
Love to have him on your team.
I love to have him on my team. Absolutely hated his guts to play against him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Chief, you played against him too. A rat out there, but he was effective. Had a great career, a great guy. But I think he's the guy to say, "Hey, let's go, Let's get a little burr in our saddle here, boys.
That's Jamie Rivers, former Blues defenseman. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. If you want to participate in the show, we'd love to have you. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. Anything we're discussing today, send in text. Leave us mic drops. If you want to watch us on the YouTube channel, it's at 101 ESPN STL. We got a chat room there, too. If you want to ask a question or leave a comment there, fantastic, man. We love the participation throughout the course of the show. Thursday night football. You got Lions, Packers. And while it's a big game for both sides, I think in some respects it's monumental for one side. We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
Let's go, boys.
Tonight, you got the NFC North matchup between the Lions and the Packers. 7:15 kickoff. It kicks off Week 4 in the NFL with Andrew Marsh and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. This is for obvious reasons, a big game for both teams. The Minnesota Vikings sitting there at 0-3, and the Bears at 0-3. They've kind of dug a large hole to dig out of. The Bears aren't good enough. We'll see if the Vikings are. But for all intents and purposes, this is going to be the matchup. And this is going to be the two teams that decide, not the matchup, but the two teams that decide the NFC North. Big game for both sides.
Slow down now. You still have 15 weeks left.
Yeah, you're right, Marshy. Vikings are lying in the weeds.
They are. Big game for both sides. I think this is monumental for the Lions. I think this is just as big, if not bigger, than going into Kansas City on Week 1. You beat the Packers last year, so it's kind of a revenge spot for Green Bay. You showed that you can win there, but this is still the Lions. This is a team. This is a team historically that has not lived up to the hype when they've had their small opportunities to. If you're the Lions, this is huge. So you just played on Sunday. You had a rebound. You rebounded from the loss to Seattle. You took care of business against Atlanta. Defensively, you have looked very strong. Save for the Seattle game.
But yeah.
This is also a matchup that really suits you. Jared Goff is a zone killer. Green Bay, almost exclusively a zone team. This is a matchup that Jared Goff should be able to pick you apart. But does he go into Lambeau? Does he start to make mistakes? Do the Lions hang around in the fourth quarter and then Jordan Love stages a comeback like he did against the Saints? This one's fascinating to me tonight.
Yeah, it is. I guess I'm worried about the unknown. And the unknown is still Jordan Love. Like, as a Lions fan,
yeah.
I'm worried about the unknown. Like, what version of Jordan Love are you going to get? Are you going to get the one where there have been several plays where you're like, woof, that's a rookie. Whoops. But then there's also other plays like, God damn, this guy's pretty good. Mm-hmm. So which one will happen more in this game? And I think the Lions have to be the ones to try and force their hand, or Green Bay's hand, into making him make bad decisions, making it a difficult night for him. I don't know if this Lions defense is there yet to make a night miserable for a quarterback.
Well, they got some guys out again.
They've gotten better defensively, but I don't think they're there yet to be like, we better be careful. This defense is pretty ferocious. So they're going to have to do it on the offensive side of the ball. Jared Goff, he just continues to kind of fly under the radar as far as, like, nationally. He's Jared Goff. It's like everybody's, But then he's putting up really good numbers. He needs to have a good game. Mm-hmm. He needs to have a big game.
Yeah, you're right. He's got to go into Lambeau and almost kind of make a statement.
Well, he's got to go in and absolutely prove that he's a better quarterback than Jordan Love.
Yes.
And if he is tonight, they'll win the game.
This is more than just beating Green Bay, a divisional rival. It is the rival. It is the team you're battling in the division. And don't you want to be more than just the team that everybody fell in love with last year and followed during the offseason and hyped up during the summer? Don't you want to be more than that? If you do, go into Lambeau in a short week and make a statement. You don't have to blow them out or anything. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm fine with that.
Play a solid game, win, and then you start to build a little momentum. Okay, let's talk about the Lions now in the NFC. They still don't compare to Philly or San Francisco, but you win tonight. Are you the third best team in the NFC with the way Dallas stubbed their toe last week? That to me, I think that's where the conversation...
Well, with the win over the Chiefs, it kind of puts them right in that category.
Well, it did. And then they lost to Seattle.
Oh, they pissed it away. I know.
But they did very Lions-esque things.
Stop with that. Those are the old Lions. That's the non-Dan Campbell Lions. Stop that.
Jamie.
Stop it.
You and I both lived in Detroit. We know the narrative.
Was Dan Campbell the coach?
No, he wasn't.
See? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Stop putting that bad juju on your hometown.
Okay.
They weren't that bad when Jim Caldwell was there.
They were better with Jim Caldwell than they were with Matt Patricia.
For sure.
And that is, and the only reason I bring that up is they fired Jim Caldwell.
Which I don't think they should have done
Matt
that.
Patricia.
They should never have done that.
They were looking for more, like,
I get it.
excitement, I guess. Jim Caldwell's, but he's steady Eddie.
Mm-hmm. Jamie, you mentioned the unknown about Jordan Love. Jordan Love last week helps the team. They come back against the Saints. They win. They go 2-1. However, he has the second worst completion percentage in the entire NFL at 53.1%. He's only better than Zach Wilson. Not saying much, but he's worse than a hobbled Joe Burrow and Justin Fields. What? Second worst completion percentage in
Justin
the NFL.
Fields, in fairness, he's only passed the ball 7 times this year.
That's fair. That is fair. But
Mine might be a little off on that.
yeah, you're
Feels
about
like it.
44 off.
Is that guy open? Hell with it. I'm going.
running.
But for the Packers to win this game, what do they have to do? Do they have to rely on Jordan Love, or do they need to establish a run game?
I think with Aaron Jones back, the offense now has an identity again. Mm-hmm. Let's keep in mind, when they ran, and I know it's a bad team, when they hung 37 on the board against Chicago and everybody's talking about them, yes, they were playing a bad defense. They had Aaron Jones. Mm-hmm. They had Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon is a solid running back. That offense has looked different. That rushing attack has looked much different with him as the lead back the last 2 weeks.
And it did last year, too.
It did. You got Aaron Jones back. Christian Watson is supposed to play now tonight.
Yeah,
we'll see. He's got a hamstring. That can always flare up at any point. But I think that with Aaron Jones and that running game, let's keep in mind, Matt LaFleur, his system is about play action. Mm-hmm. It is establishing the run, or at least the threat of the run. And when the defense starts to worry about giving up 4, 5, 6 yards a pop, linebackers start to cheat a little bit. That's when you go play action and you can strike down the field. I'm less concerned about the completion percentage for now. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of this offense opens up with Aaron Jones back, and he's a hell of a pass catcher too.
So for the Lions to be successful tonight, what do they have to do? Like, what do they? Obviously, they got to stop the run.
Yes.
And
they did last
how
week.
about this? Slow down the run, because obviously they're not going to be able to stop it. But slow down the run. But then from an offensive standpoint, like, are we positive that Green Bay is going to be a zone team automatic, or do they do the Bill Belichick and all of a sudden they're man-to-man all night?
That's a great question, Jamie. So I think some teams, and Joe Barry, the defensive coordinator for Green Bay, I think he falls into this category. Some teams don't change a damn thing. We're a zone team. It would be. In my opinion, every team should be a Belichick team where it's matchup specific. But some coaches just believe, no, this is what we do. This is the identity. This is the players we have. We're going to play zone. I can't ask corners that aren't man-to-man corners to play man-to-man. So it really comes down to personnel and coaching philosophy. Green Bay is a team that I think just plays zone. So
if that's the case, then the Lions should have a pretty damn good offensive game plan to pick it apart.
Here's the blueprint for the Lions. Short passes that take up a lot of time. Ball control. Short passes are an extension of the running game.
Yeah.
Figure out how to get Jamar Gibbs on the field. How about that? I mean, you drafted him 13th overall. You might as well play him. David Montgomery is going to, I guess, is going to play tonight, but who cares?
I hope so. I care.
Short passes, ball control, and start to squeeze Green Bay sidelines. Because if I'm Matt LaFleur, I want to run the ball. And if I start to get behind,
you gotta throw it then.
I might get a little impatient.
Yeah.
And that screws up my rhythm offensively. Now there's more on Jordan Love. Now Hutchinson is getting after Jordan Love, and that's the game.
As long as he's not being held.
As long as he's not being held. And David Bakhtiari is not playing again tonight.
Shocker.
Bakhtiari is very good. He's had some good games against Hutchinson.
I think he might be out for the season.
Yeah, he's got a turf toe or something. He's banged up, whatever it is.
That's why he doesn't like the turf.
There you go. But Hutchinson,
it's not clear if he'll be back to return to play this season.
Not good for them.
Yeah.
That's your left tackle. But Hutchinson could get after him tonight. All right, interesting game. We'll have our thoughts on that tomorrow. NHL Central Division preview. We continue with the team the Blues have had some pretty good success against, but how do they stack up to the Minnesota Wild? Jamie will tell you next on 101 ESPN. 103, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Over the last couple of weeks, we have been previewing the NHL Central Division and going team by team, looking at how they stack up to the St. Louis Blues. If you missed any of those, you can always download the podcast. Just find it at 101ESPN.com or your 101 ESPN mobile app. All brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Today, the Minnesota Vikings, the Minnesota Wilds. Get the football in the head, the brain there. The Minnesota Wild, Jamie. This is a team that I feel, outside of the one playoff series where Mike Yeo stacked the house on them and wound up winning a playoff series against them, I feel like the Blues have had very good success against the Wilds. Even though the matchups are fairly even, the Blues have done a nice job against them. But now Minnesota, they got the hometown hero. I'm a little concerned about that.
I mean, isn't that a guaranteed Stanley Cup?
Pretty much.
I think that's what Bill Guerin thought, too.
Yeah,
Billy
I don't blame him.
Probably said, how do I get a Stanley Cup? I know how. I don't need to sign Connor McDavid.
No.
I don't need to trade for Leon Draisaitl.
Go right to the Lightning from Maroon.
Get me the big rig now.
So even though they've got the hometown hero, baby, this Wild team, they finished third last year in the Central, 103 points, a pretty good season. Lost round one to the Stars, though. What do they address their biggest weakness in the offseason?
This is a team Bill Guerin's got his hands full. He made a couple of really, really, really difficult decisions in his tenure. He basically walked in and bought out the franchise, meaning they had long-term contracts to Zach Parise and Ryan Suter. Bought them out. And by doing so, he's had a cap hit, dead cap space for the last couple of seasons. And this year here, he still has 7.3 for each guy, $14.7 million of dead cap space.
Oof.
14.7 next year, then it goes down to 1.6. So Bill Guerin's got 2 more years of cap hell because of a decision he made. But I think it was the right decision. Zach Parise was no longer the player he needed to be. And from my understanding, Ryan Suter wasn't that well liked and thought he was way better than he was, wanted to command more ice time, all this stuff. And he wasn't afraid to march into the coach's office and talk about it. So Bill Guerin got there and said, I think we're going to change things here a little bit.
I think you can go now.
Yeah, but the team has suffered on the cap side of things because of the $14 million in dead cap space. And as it sits right now, they only have $43,000 in projected cap space. So imagine what $14 million could get you. The Wild are still a really good team. Billy Guerin and his group of scouts and staff have done a really good job of putting together a solid team that doesn't really have too many top-end guys. The top-end guy that everybody talks about is Kirill Kaprizov. This guy's a monster. He's a monster. He's fast. He's strong. He's got a great shot. He's competitive. All of these things. 75 points in 67 games last year. You know, every time we play the Wild, you circle him. Who the hell is going to shut this guy down? Who's going to be able to stop this guy from scoring? He is the team offensively. Matt Zuccarello is right there at 67 points in 78 games, but Zuccarello's not a game breaker. He's a very efficient passer, good puck possession guy. He's not an extremely fast player, high hockey IQ, but you can handle that guy. Matt Boldy's a good young player that they have as well. He had 63 points in 81 games last year. But again, he hasn't hit that superstar or even star status yet. He's had a good career so far, 31 goals last year, which is fantastic. But after that, man, there is a drop-off. There's a massive drop-off to where you go from 61 points down to 38 is the next guy.
Oof.
But they've got some gritty players. Spurgeon, Hartman, Foligno, they got Marcus Johansson. They've got guys who are going to muck it up out there. A lot like the St. Louis Blues when it comes to that respect of things. On the defensive side, Jared Spurgeon, their captain, he kind of headlines this back end, which isn't a very sexy defensive core. You got Spurgeon, you got Jonas Brodin, Middleton, Goligoski, John Merrill. These are just like 3-4 defensemen. Mm-hmm. Jared Spurgeon's probably a number 2 defenseman somewhere. So it's kind of like the Cardinals rotation. where you got a bunch of guys, but you don't have the high-end guys. So they're battling there. And Philip Gustafson in net is a solid young goaltender. And, of course, his backup/partner is Marc-Andre Fleury. So the Minnesota Wild, I think, are going to take some steps backwards this year. The reason that is I think other teams in this division will take steps forward. One of those teams, St. Louis Blues. I think the Blues will be better than the Wild this year overall. I think the Nashville Predators will challenge them. I think the Jets will be better than the Wild this year. They just don't have enough, and with that dead cap space, Billy Guerin just hasn't been able to add players that are difference makers. So it's a tough one. And if you break it down from position to position on this one, the Blues have a better team, top to bottom. They have better forwards, top to bottom. They got a better defensive core, and they got better goaltending. Now the difference is, can they do that consistently? Can they outplay a team like the Wild? Because the Wild, what they do have is a lot of really hard workers that are going to challenge you. And with the addition of a guy like Pat Maroon into that locker room, we joke about it, right? It's always in jest, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Because everywhere he's gone, he's been able to help that team. Even at a young age in Anaheim, he goes to Anaheim and plays with Corey Perry and Ryan Getzlaf. And all of a sudden, he's like, well, who the hell's this Pat Maroon guy? Well, then the Edmonton Oilers get him, and he plays with Connor McDavid. Oh, he's too slow to play with McDavid. Really? Play with him. Play pretty damn good, too. And Connor McDavid got confidence and was protected out there. We know what he did when he came here, what he did with the Lightning. So he's not the end-all, be-all to fix this problem, but what he's going to do is he's going to get this team to be a tight-knit group and play hard for each other, and that's what they're going to have to be. If they're not a team that plays hard together and plays as a team, they're screwed.
Yep.
A lot like the Blues in that respect, although the Blues have a lot more high-end players compared to the Wild.
That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. 310. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. If you got a question for us, 314-399-9646 is the Air Commerce Service text line. Send in a text right now because we've got our Sports Six-Pack next.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by Maggie O'Brien's, your go-to Irish pub in St. Louis for over 42 years.
With Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter, and here's Andrew Marsh with your questions for the Sports Six-Pack.
Question number 1.
All right, gentlemen, from the 314, which star made the biggest impact on American sports this year? Was it Lionel Messi, Coach Prime, or Taylor Swift?
Wow. Well, I think as far as popularity, it's got to be Taylor Swift. There's people that are in, London, England, talking about Taylor Swift watching a Chiefs game. They're not talking about Colorado Buffaloes. There's people in Australia talking about Taylor Swift. So her global popularity, obviously, that just eclipses everything else. That threw me a little for a curveball adding that one in there, Marshy.
What if we
whoever did.
What if we just localized it to America?
Still.
I mean, people are talking about the Colorado Buffaloes.
Yeah, but Anthony, sports people are. 16-year-old girls, 13-year-old girls aren't talking about the Colorado Buffaloes. They're talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. They're talking about buying Chiefs jerseys. 400% increase in jersey sales.
I like to think that they're also thinking about Prime.
How about we just take Taylor Swift off the board?
Okay.
And look at it from a different way, because that, like I said, that's almost an unfair advantage.
All right, so has there anybody then that has topped Deion Sanders at Colorado?
No. I mean, look at this week. They're going to USC, and the list of celebrities that are lined up to be there is off the charts. Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, Will Ferrell, LeBron James. It's just nonstop. It's going to be that way the whole season. At every Colorado Buffaloes game, you're going to have a list of celebrities no matter where they're playing. And that's the Deion effect right now.
Do you remember, and Marsh, maybe this was before your time, but I think ESPN did a documentary on it. Do you remember the 91 Falcons under Jerry Glanville?
Oh, God, yeah. All in black.
It reminds me of this because they had Evander Holyfields, they had MC Hammer on the side. They had all these celebrities each and every week on the sidelines. Now, that team eventually lost in the playoffs. They didn't win anything big either. But everybody's talking about them.
Guys, can we address something here on the text line?
Sure. Uh-oh.
We have a couple of texters that must be soccer fans, and I applaud you. Lionel Messi, I get from this 314, wrong, Jamie. Messi has a far greater global footprint than Taylor Swift.
He does have a global footprint. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Let's go to the Instagram followers.
Okay.
Give me a second.
There's no way. I know Messi's. I'm not disputing that he could be the second or
He's
third.
in the picture for sure.
So does Ronaldo. Ronaldo has a massive following too. No, he's not in the picture. Anthony, I don't think anybody understands the footprint that Taylor Swift has on everything.
Lionel Messi has 488 million followers on Instagram. Now, Instagram we're just using
That's not our barometer.
Well, we're using it for right now. Taylor Swift, if you had to guess, how many do you think she has? 488 is Messi.
300.
378 million.
273 million.
Messi wins.
Well,
Text
when it comes
line's
to
right.
Instagram. I'm
Text
sorry.
line's right.
Everyone uses Instagram.
Right now, Taylor Swift, anything she does, whatever product it is, goes through the roof. Goes through the roof. People in Russia know who Taylor Swift is. They're singing her songs.
You could say the same thing about Messi, though.
Hey,
I'm just telling
check Instacart.
Instacart?
Who's got more followers on Instacart?
I think Anthony Stalter does.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then after that, go to the book.
The book?
Yeah.
I don't go on the book anymore.
Okay. Still go. I'll just check it out. I just want to do the research.
I know my password.
I just want to do the research.
Okay.
All right.
By the way, I saw a TikTok trend going on where girlfriends would go up to their boyfriends or wives and husbands and say, it's crazy that Taylor Swift put Travis Kelce on the map.
Oh, yeah, I saw one of these.
And then you get the reaction of the guy saying, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's the best tight end in the league. He'll be a Hall of Famer in 5 years if he retired right now.
I saw one of them. It was a soldier. And he sits down, he's taking off his combat boots, and he looks at his wife or his girlfriend, whoever he's talking to, and he goes, I can't believe the nonsense that's coming out of your mouth right now.
He said something like, I don't want any of that coming over here.
Yeah.
As he walks down the hallway. None of that nonsense is being brought over here.
That's pretty funny.
I thought it was a good time.
I get she's popular. Is she over? I probably shouldn't do this.
Who's that?
Is she overly? Understand what I'm saying here? I'm not talking about popularity. Okay, I realize she is immensely popular.
You saying she's overrated?
I'm not saying that. I'm asking, is she overly talented? I mean, like a natural talent. Like Whitney Houston.
All right, she
was a natural talent.
She's one of the
Adele, a natural talent.
She's one of the most talented people in music. She writes all of her own songs, her own music, all that stuff.
Singing, though.
Singing is all her. Yeah.
But I mean, can she actually sing?
I'm not a Swiftie.
You know what I'm asking?
I'm not a Swiftie. I'm telling you right now, just go out there into the music world and have them, go down the hall and ask anybody in Music Row here. She can sing.
Okay.
She's flat out a star.
All right.
She has a few bops.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm not a Swiftie either.
I'm not at all. My daughter listens to it nonstop. My older daughter, my girlfriend loves it all, so I'm forced to hear it. But here's where I go with it. Is as I hear it, I'm annoyed for the first while. And then there's songs where I'm like, I like that song. Actually, I hate to admit this, but play that other song.
What's the one where she's talking about the ex-boyfriend?
Oh,
play that one.
I get the breakdown from my youngest all the time, because they're all like, "Screw you, John Mayer," because he dated her when she was 19, and apparently he was mean to her, or whatever. Not mean, they didn't work out, or he cheated on her or something. But I always look back and go, well, thank God for John Mayer. We wouldn't have had her first album.
I used to do. When I was in Detroit, I almost got stabbed multiple times.
With a broken beer bottle?
I used to do that with Eminem. I used to, thank God for Kim, huh? Or else we wouldn't have that song.
My.
People used to get pretty ticked off. Oh, so this one's about Kim, huh? This song? Another one? Okay. That's nice.
She apparently she writes songs for other artists as well.
Okay.
Plays every instrument.
Right.
So
you know where I'm coming from, right?
I can't believe you called her Milli Vanilli is basically what you tried to call her.
I didn't. I was asking a question. There are some musical artists that might be popular, but the talent level does not match the popularity. So I was simply asking a question from somebody, you, Jamie, that loves the Swift.
Some people are so up at arms right now.
Why?
314, Jamie, please. Taylor Swift is practically nobody. I base absolutely 0% of my life. I don't base anything on my life on Taylor Swift either. Where the hell are we going here? What are we doing? We're talking about her popularity and that she's generated sales for the Chiefs and all this. I can't go another minute today if we don't resolve this Taylor Swift thing.
I think we're good.
Come on.
Question number 2.
All right, let's talk about the Cardinals again, huh? Yeah? We talked about them earlier and their fundamentals. From the 618, do you guys think that some of the Cardinals' young defensive problems are that they try to prepare them too much for every situation versus just having the knowledge and the ability to think on the fly?
Honest answer, I don't know. That's the honest answer. I am concerned that the fundamentals have broken down at not only the big league level, but the minor league level too. The minor leagues are your developmental leagues. What Matt Holliday said, I thought brings a lot of perspective and truth to the matter. When you get to the big leagues, you're expected to know. Now, Jamie, to your point, if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing in a certain play, for whatever reason, that is up to your coaching staff to get that player up to speed. But why is that player needing to be up to speed? Have they? My question is, and this is, again, I don't know, but have the minor leagues lost some of that, from a fundamental standpoint, lost some of that attention to detail? And maybe they haven't, and we're just isolating the errors, but that would be my question.
That's where I went earlier with it, is sometimes these minor league, and I'm not even talking about the Cardinals. Let's just say minor league systems. Those guys are trying to advance too. Those managers are trying to advance. And I think what happens is the view to the majors gets foggy because they think it depends on wins and losses and winning a championship at the minor league level. Let me tell you something. When a minor league team wins a title, the big league team is very happy for them, but it doesn't make a lick of difference to them. It provided experience for those guys. They got some good playoff reps. How's our number one pick doing, though? Why did he play like crap? Why did you not play him? Why did you play the 6-year veteran over our first rounder in the playoffs? Because that guy's never going to play for us. The first rounder, we want him on the team 2 years from now. Mm-hmm. What are we doing here? We've lost sight of what we're doing.
Right.
So again, I go back to saying that the best minor league coaches aren't the guys who win championships. They're the guys that produce major leaguers.
That's a great point.
And that's the way, if you're a minor league coach, if I'm coaching in the American Hockey League, I don't care about rings for Calder Cups. It would be nice. Great. But I don't care about that. What I want my resume to say is AHL coach for 5 years. 23 National Hockey League players went through that system.
Yes.
I pushed that many guys to the show.
Yep. Good call.
That's what matters.
Yeah. Well said.
Question number 3.
We get a question from our YouTube page, DroidFX. What do you guys think about the Cardinals being years behind the rest of Major League Baseball with the pitching labs?
Oh, I don't know anything. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, I guess when you look at, like studies have been done about which teams are kind of ahead of the curve with their pitching labs, like getting pitchers up to speed and all that, and the Cardinals apparently are vastly behind.
How's that possible? Like, I know you don't have the answer. It's more of a broader question. Like, how?
Jamie, I think what the question that you just asked goes back to what I said yesterday. The attention has swung from pitching and defense to we need an offense. We need to build the offense. And when you look at some of the minor league development, there was an area there that really you look at, you're like, what happened here? You weren't developing big league hitters. I call it the Steven Biscotti, Randall Grichuk era. You looked at like those two guys. Grichuk, you got in a deal, and I like Randall. I do. Personally, I like him.
Friend of the show.
And he's had a really good, he's had a nice career.
Friend of the show.
But those guys shouldn't be 3-4 in your lineup. So I think they decided, all right, we have to really emphasize picking players with high upsides in the draft. And they did. Gorman, Walker, Wynn, you're seeing the fruits of the labor now. But it's almost like they swung so far the other way that they didn't match the pitching at the same time. Now, maybe that's coming. Again, maybe it's Kent and Graceffo and McGreevy. Maybe that's coming.
They missed on their gap.
But there's a window here.
We've talked about this before. They missed on their gap guys.
Yep.
When they started to go into a new generation of pitchers, they banked on Dakota Hudson. They banked on Jake Woodford. They banked on Reyes and other guys to be that next wave.
Yeah.
They got it wrong. And so what's happened now is there's a massive gap because Tinkance, McGreevy, and Graceffo, those guys aren't ready yet. They were supposed to be the next wave coming in on the tails of Hudson, Woodford, and those guys.
Yeah.
So they missed one, we'll call it era of pitching, one block of time, and it's cost them dearly.
Definitely. We're going to do hot take or hot garbage in about 15 minutes. So we're going to give you an opportunity to text in 314-399-9646. Before we play hot garbage, we're going to give you an opportunity to make your statement, and then we'll decide whether or not it's a hot take or hot garbage here in the Fast Lane. But the Yankees are doing something from a scouting-esque standpoint or front office-esque standpoint that Marsh led to ask, should the Cardinals be taking a page out of the Yankees book? We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update. Brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Last night, the Cards fell to the Milwaukee Brewers by a final score of 3-2. They are currently in action right now as the Brewers lead 1-0 in the bottom of the second inning. Dakota Hudson on the mound going up against Corbin Burns. Once again, Brewers and Cardinals. The Brewers leading 1-0. The Blues take on the Blackhawks tonight. Preseason action coming your way right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 6:30. Puck drop is at 7:30. You can catch all the action once again right here on 101 ESPN. We'll have hot take or hot garbage coming up in about 10 to 15 minutes, so send us your hot takes. But coming up next, should the Cardinals take a page out of the Yankees book? I'm Andrew Marsh, and this SportsCenter update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
So, Jamie, I know that you were looking at Barstool Sports, the blog, and you saw that it was kind of an interesting article, and maybe this is actually from NJ.com, but you saw an interesting article about the Yankees and how they might restructure things with the front office. So, their current owner, Steinbrenner, has had enough of being a runner-up. And one person that's familiar with Steinbrenner thinks that there's going to be massive changes in the way that the Yankees do business in 2024. It's still uncertain whether the overhaul will cost manager Aaron Boone his job, but Steinbrenner is committed to finding out what went wrong and how to fix it. This is the part that I know you thought was kind of interesting. The investigation will begin in early October, although interestingly, the company conducting the audit will not recommend personnel changes. The analysts will instead focus on process and how the Yankees compare to other clubs. The categories will include the success and failure of the Bombers' trades in the last decade, the shakeout of the draft picks, including the international draft, the number of games and dollars lost to injuries, and the state of minor league player development. And this led you to think about the Cardinals.
Yeah, big time. Because what have we been saying for the last couple of seasons is, spend more. Define that. And everybody automatically equates that to players.
Free agents.
No, just players overall.
Players.
Increase the payroll. Increase the payroll. That's what they're talking about. I'm not saying you don't increase the payroll. But maybe you're spending money in the areas that can help your ball club. Obviously, the Yankees, they have always been at the forefront of the top
spending
and top of the league. You talk about the Yankees and you think success.
Yeah.
The winningest franchise in baseball history. So they're now taking the approach of we're doing an audit top to bottom, everybody. Nobody's getting fired, but the analysis of everything will tell us where our weaknesses are, and when if we see the weaknesses, attributed to one certain person, they're gone. Mm-hmm. That's it. We got to change, increase our scouting, the way we do things, how we play, how we draft. They're doing a whole reboot of the computer, and I think that's the time right now for the Cardinals to do the same. What's their thought process? What's their development process in the minors? What is their strategy when it comes to drafting players?
Yeah.
What is their strategy when they're drafting pitchers? What kind of pitchers are we looking for? What kind of pitchers are successful? What's important offensively now? Why are we drafting slugging percentage? If so, what's the percentage of guys who slug that help you win ball games? All of these things have to be gone through now by the Cardinals, and the Yankees, are just like a step ahead. At least publicly they are. Because I don't know, it's not fair for me to say the Cardinals aren't doing it. Mm-hmm. But I found it to be very interesting that this is the road that they've taken from a franchise that quite honestly could just continue to throw money at players and hope for the best. But instead, they're going to throw money at the process and see where they're deficient.
Yeah. So my only question is, it all sounds good. It sounds good to have this external audit done to see where you've gone wrong. I think a lot of companies do this. But I think the mistake that is often made is are you evaluating the evaluator?
Exactly.
Is the audit... No. What I'm saying is the people that are doing the audit, how many games have they won? Are you talking to people that have won at that level or have been part of winning organizations, or are you talking to a consultant, an outside consultant? Yes.
But what they're doing is they just accrue the information. This has nothing to do with comparing it. It has nothing. They don't ever have to have played a baseball game in their lives. The information will speak for itself. And this is an analytics thing. I'm not talking curveball, sliders, and like situational baseball. The analytics tell me this. No,
Yeah.
This type of player has a success rate of this. You have drafted, let's say it's a success rate of 25%, which isn't great, okay?
Right.
You've drafted 27 of these types of players. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Who did that? Who is in charge of that draft? Who's the guy who signed all the, like,
Yeah.
who's in love with this style of player that isn't working? That's what the audit does. It gives you the numbers of every decision that you've made. It supports it by a cumulative number of how many times you've repeated the same behavior.
Sure.
And that's what it is. And it basically strips down everything. So the salesman on your staff, that is, like the Moneyball thing, the old guys who, they got the eyeball and, all that stuff. Those guys who have been in this forever can't just say that anymore, because every draft pick, every player that they've ever scouted, anybody they've ever promoted now is going to be judged upon, the success rate, how much money that player cost and what was that player's production.
Mm-hmm.
So it has nothing to do with I've won championships. Doesn't matter. We're not comparing it to championship players. We're comparing it to success rate in the majors.
But you see what I'm saying? Sometimes the numbers can be lost. So, like, look at sometimes the point can be lost in the numbers. For example, our guy at the Athletic, Dom.
Yeah, but Dom's falls short because he makes it an overall thing. So he takes all of the players' numbers, puts it in the pile, and gets a number. All different styles of players. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you just took all right-handed defensemen 6'5" or taller that, have played this many games and this many minutes,
sure.
that shrinks the pile down to where you get a really good comparable to Colton Parayko. So production minus cost of doing business, which is salary, term, the years, like that's more what the audit does. It shrinks it down to its smallest element to where you can actually see where you're doing well, where you're doing poorly, and if there's actually a necessity for change. Maybe there isn't. Maybe you look across the board and you're like, you know what? There's some ups, some downs. Maybe it's not this area. Mm-hmm. Let's go to the pitching staff now. Let's go to the manager, because I think Aaron Boone's got to be at risk.
Yeah.
I feel like the wheels fell off for him this year in particular. He's thrown out of, 5 or 6 games? Something stupid like that. He got suspended for being thrown out of more than 3 games. Like, I get you're angry, but...
Yeah, what are we paying you? Like, what are we
doing here?
What do you say you do here? Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's, and one thing that we can definitely agree on, Jamie, is that the Cardinals need to restructure things. They need to take a look. They need to take a step back and look at their own process. Whether or not you hire an outside audit or consultant, all that, I don't know. But it's an interesting thing. I like that they're doing something. The Yankees are. What the Cardinals do, and whether or not they're going to be public with it, I don't know. But there's definitely a need to reevaluate after this year. And not just the players, but how you're acquiring those players.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I think if nothing else, it shows the entire organization, including the players and your fan base, that you're taking it seriously. Mm-hmm. So it costs you a couple $1 million. And trust me, these owners have spent a couple $1 million worse in other directions.
Sure.
So I like it. I'm not saying it's something the Cardinals do and announce it publicly, but you do get to some actual numbers that can maybe influence some better decisions in the future.
That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. We're going to play hot take or hot garbage. Send in your hot take, and we'll tell you whether or not it's hot take or hot garbage. That's next on 101 ESPN. I know the 618's been chiming in on the text line. He just chirped at me on Twitter. Said, I wish there was someone that could teach Cardinals players fundamentals, but I once heard someone say coaches don't matter. Wow.
Manager position is highly overrated, Anthony. Someone said that one time.
What did you just say?
What?
What did you just say?
I repeated what someone said.
What? Right, but what did you say?
I said the manager position is highly overrated.
Which is what I have said.
Yeah.
Which is different, correct me if I'm wrong, which is different than coaches don't matter.
I mean, I guess it's up for interpretation.
You can chirp at me, but let's get what I said correct. And still we mangle context constantly. I've been your biggest supporter, 618. Quite frankly, I've been your only supporter.
You even changed his name.
I even changed your name to the 6-1 great. And you mangle the context. Context is dead. Today, Jamie, mark it. 349, 928, 23. Context dead.
All right.
Come on now.
You hate to see it.
I heard somebody say coaches don't matter. I never said that. You passive-aggressive person.
Wow.
Let's play hot take or hot garbage, huh? Let's go. Fired up.
Excited.
All right. From the 618, not the 618. Hot take. Ronald Acuna Jr. is better / more valuable than a healthy Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, no. That's hot garbage. He's pretty damn valuable. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah, he doesn't pitch, though.
He doesn't pitch. 40 bombs and 70 stolen bases. First player ever in Major League Baseball history to do it. He's an absolute stud when it comes to playing baseball. Problem is he can't get you 20 wins. Can't pitch He can't pitch first game in the World Series.
Yeah.
And that's where, Shohei Ohtani's offensive numbers can rival Acuna Jr.'s all the time.
Yeah, agreed.
But Ronald Acuna can't pitch.
So I guess we got to put that in the hot garbage category.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
Ohtani can't pitch either right now.
Well, but he did say the healthy version. Right?
There was the word
It's true.
healthy that was...
Healthy.
You're right.
Ohtani.
Yep.
You're right.
Come on now.
From the 815, hot take, the Cubs are better set up for the future with their farm system and current team than the Cardinals are.
Who is?
The Cubs.
I got to go with hot take on that.
I don't know enough about their minor league system or their young players coming up.
I know they have better pitching. I know they have better young pitching.
But that's the issue for me. Is it are they in a better setup? Are they a better team? Or are they just better pitching team?
Well,
because if you go through the Cubs roster, player for player, and you did the head-to-head matchup, I'd be interested to see where we end up leaning at the end of it all.
For what it's worth, I'm seeing top 5 rankings for the Cubs in terms of prospects or farm systems, I should say. But the Cardinals are top 10 as well. So, and you also have to consider, Jordan Walker is no longer part of the top 10 prospects for the Cardinals.
No, he's a player now.
Mason Wynn might count right now, but he won't be soon. You're developing guys at the big league, like they're here, so that has to be factored in. But from a pitching standpoint, the Cubs have better young pitchers right now. They've got an ace in Justin Steele.
No disagreement with that.
So,
but I just sometimes wonder if we look at one specific thing, and because the team has been better, they have much better season than the Cardinals. But I'm wondering how many players for the Cubs you'd take over certain Cardinals players. Yeah. There's a couple for sure. Yeah. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
but
it's pound for pound. Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I don't know either.
But I just keep thinking about, and this is something that I've said a lot this year, and I believe it more than ever now after watching this year. If you don't have pitching, you have anything. This Cardinals offense is really good. This Cardinals offense, I would stack up pound for pound against a lot of these teams. Yeah. You don't have pitching, you're in last place. If you don't have pitching, you don't have anything.
I don't disagree with you.
It is not unlike if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have anything. You might have a good team, just need a quarterback. Well, then you're a long ways away from winning then. There's no such thing of we just need a quarterback. Oh, okay, then you need everything, is what you're saying.
From a 618 hot take, the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line is the best D-line the NFL has ever seen, with all the guys they can rotate in and out.
Ah, man.
I mean,
the
it's
Pittsburgh
it's pretty
Steelers
good.
way back when,
Still
the
Kerber.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, you got the 70s Steelers.
I mean, you had Randy White, you had Ed Jones, you had all these guys with the Cowboys. The Bears, the
Tony
85
Jones.
Bears had some animals on that
Yep.
line.
Richard Dent.
William Perry.
Yep.
Like, they had some guys, man.
I do appreciate what he or she is saying though in terms of the rotation. They're right. I mean, you can they have two waves of linemen. It is not just the front four. You're good. Like they're going to be in the fourth quarter. They're still going to be fresh. So factoring that in, I don't know. That's a deep dive. I'll go the hot take right now though. It's got me thinking. I don't think that's hot garbage. I think it's a hot take.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a hot take though either. I don't think it's either.
It's not the
When it's
lukewarm.
I'll go hot garbage then. I'm sorry.
All right.
Don't forget the purple people eaters, too.
That's true. Yes.
The New York Jets in the late 80s, early 90s, Mark Gastineau, Joe Klecko. Like, ooh, come on, man. The New York Giants, their heyday. There's some freaking defensive lines, man.
I wonder if you...
The Redskins.
I wonder if you can revisit this in like 10 years and then say something, because I mean,
might be a better indicator.
You guys are mentioning all these different teams, so that leads me to think that this is hot garbage because you have all these other teams that you can compare them to. Maybe we wait 10 years and we really see how good they are.
It's tough too, though, because it's a completely different era.
That's true.
You know, I mean, those guys that we've mentioned, a lot of the guys that Jamie just brought up, they had to play the run too. Where a lot of these guys, I'm not saying they don't, but you know, it's a strictly passing league. You know, the Giants, the two teams the Giants rolled out against the Patriots, they had a lot of depth too. When you're talking about Strahan and Umaniora and Justin Tuck and Linval Joseph, the second Super Bowl. I mean, that was a great line too.
From the 618, hot take: the Cards have failed to draft and develop players from Latin America.
I think their international drafts have been incredibly underwhelming. We just brought up the Braves. Look at the Braves roster and some of the players that they selected in the international draft.
Night. When I watched Ronald Acuna steal that base, and I'm like, why don't we have one of those? Like, why don't we have an international player that is absolute stud?
Yeah, you do. And I can't tell you one that
I can't remember any. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure there are players that were okay.
I mean,
but like,
you know, Carlos Martinez, Aledmus Diaz, like those are the names that come to mind. It's the one, quite frankly, that you didn't sign when you had an opportunity, and that was Luis Robert of the White Sox. I mean, it was like the White Sox and Cardinals. Who's he going to go to? And the Cardinals are like, nah, it's a lot of money. That's too much money for an unknown player.
Yeah. They certainly have not produced like star caliber players in the international draft.
No. So hot take.
From the 636, hot take: Dennis Gates will have Mizzou in a Final Four within 3 years.
I'll take that. I think it's a hot take.
That guy's crushing it.
He's
right
been
now.
phenomenal. He has got the pulse of that team, and he recruits well, and more importantly than recruiting well, he connects with the players. How big is that? We've been talking about this with Dion. It's not just about recruiting. It's about connecting with your players and having those players believe in something greater than just their career aspirations. It's about believing in the team and then going on and doing something bigger and even better. I think Dennis Gates, while not, you know, the flash that Dion has had, he's done a great. Nobody does. But, you know, I think Dennis Gates has done just a tremendous job. I thought last year was just a stepping stone. That was an excellent season.
Yeah. Listen, he's done a great job. Now, can he keep them?
Yeah, and I think he can.
And that's the battle. No, is the battle for a program like Mizzou is going to be, okay, we recruited these guys. They came in. They crushed it. Are they going to transfer now to one of the blue bloods?
Sure.
The ones that are going to get them drafted in the first 5 in the NBA.
Right. Yep, that's fair.
So we'll see.
Gauntlet is next on 101 ESPN.
one challenger. Can you master the gauntlet?
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
.401, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Andrew Marsh and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. We welcome in Jeremy into the Gauntlet. What's up, Jeremy?
Hey, what's up?
First time in the Gauntlet?
Yeah, I've been trying to get on for a while, man. This is exciting.
Well, congratulations, man. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for playing today. Would you like to take on Marsh, Jamie, or me today?
Jamie.
Jamie is up.
Jamie and Jeremy, Clash of the Titans, baby. I like the headlines already.
Couple of J's.
All right, buddy. Good luck, man.
Thanks.
All right, Jamie's going to make his way into the cone of silence. You're going to tell Marsh to spin that wheel, Jeremy.
Spin that wheel, Marshy.
What are we hoping for, Jeremy?
Baseball.
Baseball. What are we not hoping for?
Football.
Football. Ooh. Is that what I see? Yep, baseball it is. You got your wish, Jeremy. You got baseball today.
Sweet.
All right, 4 questions to Jeremy, same 4 questions to Jamie, all baseball. Each question is worth 2 points. If Jeremy or Jamie ask for the options, those questions immediately become worth 1 point. Jeremy, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Who won the NL Rookie of the Year last season? Who won the National League Rookie of the Year last season?
Last year. Again. Michael Harris.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Question number 2. Which team that was recently eliminated from playoff contention will be missing the playoffs for the first time since 2016?
Option.
Options are the Boston Red Sox, the New York Yankees, or the St. Louis Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Question 3. What year was the first year BT pitched for the Cardinals, posting a 4-0 record and a 2.95 ERA? Again, what year was the first year Brad Thompson pitched for the Cardinals, posting a 4-0 record and a 2.95 ERA?
I want to say 2003. Final answer.
Question number 4. Carlos Beltran played 20 years in Major League Baseball. Which team did he play the most games for?
Kansas City Royals. Final answer.
All right, we'll welcome in Jamie, or welcome back, Jamie. Jeremy, how you feeling?
Pretty good.
Okay. All right, Jamie is walking back into the studios right now. He's his glasses in hands, about to put his headphones back in.
Guys, that was really quick.
It was really quick.
You know what that means, right? It's like really good or really bad.
It's usually that. It's either one or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no mid-ground on this one.
Yeah, it means you better pack a lunch.
Okay.
Jamie,
Anthony,
your category today is baseball.
I love baseball.
I know you do, buddy. Question number 1. Who won National League Rookie of the Year last season?
Okay, National League Rookie of the Year. I should know this. Was last year Jonathan India? Was that the year before? Crap. Give me the options.
Michael Harris, Spencer Strider, O'Neal Cruz.
Wow, okay. I thought it was going to be easier than this. Go Michael Harris. Final answer.
Question number 2. Which team that was recently eliminated from playoff contention will be missing the playoffs for the first time since 2016?
Man, people should pay more attention to things. Is it the Boston Red Sox? Is it the Yankees? Son of a batch of biscuits. Give me the options.
Options are the Boston Red Sox, the New York Yankees,
course.
or the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah. Well, the Cardinals missed in 2018, so delete that. Didn't they? I think they did. The Red Sox. Yankees. Son of a... I'm going to say the New York Yankees. Final answer.
Question 3. What year was the first year BT, otherwise known as Brad Thompson, pitched for the Cardinals, posting a 4-0 record and a 2.95 ERA?
Wow. Okay, so he was part of the 06 World Series Championship. But was that the first year he pitched for the Cardinals, Anthony? Tell me.
I'm asking you.
Hey! Or did he get some games in 05? Because I know he rode the Memphis shuttle. Probably going to be like 05, 06, or 04, 05, 06 is going to be my options for sure. I'm going to say 2005, final answer.
Question number 4. Carlos Beltran played 20 years in Major League Baseball. Which team did he play the most games for?
Carlos Beltran. The most games for. The Astros? Or am I high as a kite on that one? Give me the answer. Or give me the I will take the options, please.
Options are the New York Mets, the Kansas City Royals, or the New York Yankees.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad I didn't say that. I'll say the New York Mets. Final answer. Woof.
All right, let's go over these. Who won the National League Rookie of the Year last season? Jamie, you said Michael Harris. Jeremy, you said Michael Harris. Correct answer is?
It is Michael Harris.
But Jeremy did not need the options
you
for that
sly
one.
dog.
So Jeremy's got a 2-1 lead over Jamie. Which team that was recently eliminated from playoff contention will be missing the playoffs for the first time since 2016? Jeremy, with the options, you said the Cardinals. Jamie, with the options, you said the Yankees, and you were flipping back and forth between the Yankees and Red Sox.
Yeah.
Correct answer is?
It is the New York Yankees.
Jamie has tied things up.
Cardinals, what,
Against
2018
Jeremy.
they missed?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So again, we have a 2-2 tie. What year was the first year BT pitched for the Cardinals, posting a 4-0 record and a 2.95 ERA? Jeremy, without the options, said 2003. Jamie, without the options, said 2005. We know he was a part of the 06 World Series team. Was that the first time he was called up, or was it before that? Correct answer is 2005. Yeah. Jamie's right. He got 2 on that one. He did not need the options, so he is up by 2.
Whew. What were the options, out of curiosity, for that one?
04, 05, 06.
I knew it.
Carlos Beltran played 20 years in Major League Baseball. Which team did he play the most games for? Again, Jeremy is down by 2. Jamie took the options, said the Mets. Jeremy did not take the options and said the Royals, who are an option. We know that from Jamie. Mets, Royals, Yankees. If it's the Mets or Yankees, Jamie wins. If it's the Royals, we've got a walk-off. Jeremy.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose.
Correct answer is?
It is the New York Mets with 839 games.
Wow. Jamie, 5 points today. Got every question right. Needed the options for 3 of them. Nailed the 05 BT question.
I'm a baseball guy.
Jeremy goes down 5-2. Jeremy, thanks for playing, man. I'm glad you got through. And thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy. Have a good one, buddy.
You too.
Nice job there, kid.
Those are difficult, man.
By the way,
it's amazing what you can retain, though. The options do help at that point.
They do.
You had this look on your face like, there's just no way it's the Kansas City Royals. Actually wasn't that far off as much as you think it was.
Really?
795.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. Probably because of Royals. I don't remember that.
That was his first team.
Yeah.
Wow.
Carlos Beltran. Of course, he struck out against Adam Wainwright in the 2006 NLCS. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN, and we appreciate Jeremy playing. Thanks for listening. What do the Cardinals, Mets, Padres, Yankees, and Red Sox all have in common? Is there?
No postseason.
That's one. Is there another one? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Woo, Anthony. NFL football on tonight, and obviously a lot of big games coming up this week, especially here in the fast lane. Well, when there's big games, I head over to FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And although I'm not a new customer right now, new customers do get special treatment. And right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets, and that's guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. So that's $200 in bonus bets. Best part, Anthony, win or lose.
That's incredible. So just go to FanDuel.com/fast. Again, FanDuel.com/fast. Kick off the NFL season. Or how about this? Kick off tonight. Week 4 starts tonight with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. But when it comes to the slates this week, tonight, great matchup, Lions and Packers. On Sunday morning, you got football. 9 a.m., wake up, London game, Jaguars and Falcons. Maybe you take a dabble at FanDuel's live betting in that one. Build the same game parlay, whatever you want to do. The app is great to use, simple, easy. It's a fantastic option for you when it comes to the player props and really anything that you want to do for the NFL season. Again, at FanDuel.com.
21 and over, President Illinois. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
all these teams, Cardinals, Mets, Padres, Yankees, Red Sox, every single one of them have disappointed this season. The only team that is still mathematically alive as of this very second is the San Diego Padres, but they'll be eliminated soon enough. So what do these teams have in common? Again, Cardinals, Mets, Padres, Yankees, Red Sox. With Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, and Anthony Stalter. Kind of an interesting look at this. If we're just going to go with one thing, or if I was just going to go with one thing, guys, if I isolate the starting pitching, not the entire pitching staff, just the starting pitching of each of these teams. And the metric that I like to use is fielding independent percentage. It works the same as ERA.
Why do you like that one?
Because it's park adjusted, and it highlights, it takes kind of the defense out of it, and just evaluates
isolates
each
the pitcher.
Exactly.
Okay.
The ERA, it doesn't adjust for the ballparks. It doesn't adjust for whether or not your defense is great.
It's earned runs.
Exactly. So
it's not like,
Yeah, the only thing really factors in is errors.
Yeah.
All right. So fielding independent percentage, again, works the same as ERAs in terms of how you read it. Jamie, out of the Cardinals, Mets, Padres, Yankees, and Red Sox, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of those 5 teams, how many of those teams do you believe, or do you think, finished in the top 5 in fielding independent percentage? Finished in the top 5.
Honestly?
Out of the 5.
Top of my head, none.
None is the correct answer. How many of those teams out of 5 finished 10th in that category? Or top 10, I should say. 10th. Top 10.
Okay.
In fielding independent percentage. For just the starting pitcher.
I'll say none again.
1.
Okay.
The San Diego
Mets?
Padres.
I thought maybe the Mets because they had Verlander and Scherzer. I thought maybe that would skew it a little bit.
The Padres, surprisingly.
Well, they got Blake Snell. Figure it out.
There you go. So they really had, and Michael Walks had a good year, but he was banged up for the majority of the middle of the season.
But what's Snell, like 1.62 ERA?
He's been disgusting. So they
stupid like that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. How many out of the 5? And we already give you 1 because of the Padres finished in the top 15. Or how about this? 16? Because we'll go 15 because that's the dead average.
I think it would be the Mets and the Padres. I'd say 2.
1. The Padres, who finished 7th. The Padres were 7th. The Yankees were 17th. The Mets were 18th. The Red Sox were 21st. And your St. Louis Cardinals were 23rd. So the only team that had quality to great starting pitching this year, and I don't even say great, just, top 10, the San Diego Padres.
Thanks to 2 guys primarily.
Thanks to 2 guys. Every other team of those 5 finished below average. And to me, that says everything. When you look at like the Yankees and the Mets, 17th and 18th, you say, well, that's not terrible. They had below average starting pitching. Mm-hmm. If you kind of take it from there and expand it out, the Yankees did not have the offense this season to overcome the poor pitching. They have in years past. The Mets offense wasn't able to carry some of the poor pitching either. We know the Cardinals, unfortunately, even with their good offense, they couldn't carry it. The other thing that I think stands out, Jamie, is something that you kind of just alluded to. Oh, well, the Padres, they finished 7th. Well, they had Blake Snell. The Mets were an aberration because of Scherzer and Verlander. Mm-hmm. And Senga, for that matter. Only 2 of those teams really had aces. Like Chris Sale, he's been banged up. He's not what he was. Mm-hmm. The Yankees had Garrett Cole. I should say this. Even if they had an ace, because Garrett Cole's an ace, the rest of the rotation wasn't good enough. So what do these teams have in common? It's the pitching. That's how I look at it. Do you view it in a different way?
No. When all of these teams are missing the postseason and you only have one team in the top 10 and the rest are below the halfway mark and lower, no, there's no other way to look at it. It's a direct correlation to the success of your team. Mm-hmm. And having an ace like Blake Snell makes a difference. Michael Wacha having a solid year makes a difference. But for me, it just goes to show you how badly the Cardinals need to go get that ace.
Yes.
Because what would the Cardinals season look like now if they had a guy every 5 days that you plop him in there and you're guaranteed a great start?
Even if they had Cole or Snell, though, it wouldn't be good enough, obviously.
I agree. I'm not sitting here saying one guy changes
saves everything. Yeah.
But one guy and another solid guy makes a big difference. And the Padres still missed the playoffs.
Yep. The other factor you can, and I'm doing this right now. The other factor that at least deserves mention, besides the pitching, is the defense. So let's play the same game here, Jamie. You ready? Mm-hmm. Out of the 5 teams, in terms of total defensive run saves ranking as a team, how many of those teams do you think had positive numbers? Let's just go positive and negative. Forget the rankings. Out of the 5 teams, how many do you think had positive ratings?
1.
2.
I almost said 2.
Padres and Yankees. The Red Sox were a minus 22. That's the worst. The Mets were a minus 21, and the Cardinals were a minus 6. It's run prevention. It's run prevention. The Mets, they spend.
Oh, do they ever?
Yankees spend.
Yep.
Padres spend.
Yeah, stupidly, but yep.
It's not, we could sit here until we're blue in the face and talk about, we got to spend more. Those 3 teams have proven that it's not just about spending. I'm not saying don't spend anything.
Yeah.
But it's not just about, you have to spend on the right damn players.
Well, yeah, that's it right there, the right players, because both the Mets and the Padres suffered from a fractured clubhouse this year, too. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you spend all that money, you have all these egos that walk around. And I always reference my time with the Detroit Red Wings because, it was an entire team almost of Hall of Famers. And every guy got along. Every guy knew their role. Every guy pulled for the team. Every guy did, but that was built that way. Scotty Bowman and Ken Holland built a team that could coexist, where Brett Hull could exist with Steve Yzerman. Steve Yzerman could exist with Brendan Shanahan. Nick Lidstrom could exist with Chris Chelios. All of these massive names coexisted because they all had one common goal. They wanted to win. Right. It wasn't about the paychecks. They were getting good paychecks. It was about the team winning. Mm-hmm. Where the Padres and the Mets went wrong is they threw money at everything. Yep. And the players that they threw money at may not be the best teammates, may not care the most about winning for the team. Mm-hmm. They might care more about their endorsement deals or their home runs or their strikeouts or whoever the player is you want to pick that maybe was a problem. Sure. It wasn't based around the team-first mentality. Right. So, yeah, I threw $50 million at a player or $45 million at a player, but he was the wrong player. That can handicap your team. Sure. The other thing, too, let's just eliminate another thing, too, because I know that there's a lot of people that just, they're not high on Ollie Marmol. Okay, fine. You're right to your opinion and all that, and it's been a bad season. So the other thing I think we need to look at here, too, is there is, I feel, a small contingent here in St. Louis that says, You need to go out and get an experienced manager. All right. Alex Cora is an experienced manager with World Series pedigree. Aaron Boone has managed for a while now. Buck Showalter, you don't get more experience than Buck Showalter. Bob Melvin is San Diego's manager. There's a one obvious similarity, and there is a 1B. And it is starting pitching for these teams, save for the Padres, and then there is the defense. The Padres are the outlier, quite frankly, because they had good defense and good starting pitching. Where they went wrong, I think, is what you said. They basically brought in a bunch of hired mercenaries. Yeah, they picked the wrong guys. They picked the wrong guys. They picked the wrong blend of guys. The roster construction wasn't great. And I know the Cardinals, we can kind of spend some time talking about roster construction with the Cardinals as well. But other than that, you take the Padres out of it, and all these other teams have similar problems. What do they do in the offseason now? Because the Cardinals have a big offseason, Mets have a big offseason, Padres have a big offseason, Yankees, Red Sox, same deal. Do you know what I don't like about this group of 5?
All the other ones are willing to spend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they like the
They
Mets.
they can throw money at their problems.
The Mets, the Yankees, and the Red Sox have absolutely no financial problems whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
The Padres might have financial problems, but they're so freaking all in right now that they're going to go down with the ship. They don't care. They'll throw money at somebody to fix this.
Yep.
Do you guys think that analytics playing a factor in contracts? We've talked about it before that some players, they're getting paid by how many home runs they hit. It doesn't matter how many times they strike out. Do you think that plays a factor in creating a culture within a clubhouse? Like you mentioned, some players might be too invested on how many doubles they hit or how many home runs they hit instead of just moving the runner over. Do you think that plays a factor into some of these teams and perhaps they're losing?
It might create an imbalanced roster.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it comes back to the individual.
Right.
You have to pick the right individual because Paul Goldschmidt is going to advance the runner. Nolan Arenado is going to advance the runner.
Well, they're going to try.
I'm speaking hypotheticals, okay? It's not October, so they're going to advance the runner. But you go back to some of these other guys, like they have long-term deals. They're guaranteed the money. So really bunting, who cares? I didn't get a home run. Who cares? I'm making 30 schmil anyways, right? But you pick the wrong guys. You pick the guys that just care about themselves. And that's the bad part when you're trying to win a World Series with so many high-priced players is you have to make sure that you've signed or acquired the players that want to win a World Series more than anything else.
There you go. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. NFL Better Bet next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cards lost to the Milwaukee Brewers last night by a final score of 3-2. They are currently trailing 2-0, heading to the top of the sixth inning. With bases loaded and one out, Dakota Hudson gets a ground ball double play to get out of the inning. So the Brewers are still up 2-0, heading to the top of the sixth inning. The Blues take on the Blackhawks tonight. Pregame starts at 6:30. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We have NFL Better Bet coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Time for NFL Better Bet. What do you got, Marsh?
All right, gentlemen, let's start off with the Better Bet Road Underdog Edition. We have the Patriots over the Cowboys or the Raiders over the Chargers. What is the better bet?
Okay, so the Raiders over the Chargers or the Patriots over the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I think the better bet is the Patriots over the Cowboys. Seeing what happened to the Cowboys last week by a team that just defended and played hard makes me think that Dak Prescott is something you can get to. You can get to this guy. I do think the Raiders could easily beat the Chargers as well, but if I'm looking for, saucy, I think the Patriots give it to the Cowboys.
I'll take the better coaching staff. The Patriots are not impressive at all, but they tend not to beat themselves. They stay in a lot of games. You know, the Chargers, granted, the Chargers beat themselves all the time. But when it comes to these two matchups, Jimmy Garoppolo, not that he has played great, but he's dealing with, I think, a concussion or an ankle injury or something. So we don't know his status for Sunday. And the Chargers are kind of flying high a little bit after beating the Vikings last week in that kind of thriller. While Cowboys are going to be focused, I detailed the red zone issues that they've had. And it's not just last week, it's the last couple of weeks. So I'll go with the Patriots as well.
I'm also going with the Patriots. Obviously, the Cowboys lost last week to the Arizona Cardinals. The Patriots have Bill Belichick as their head coach. I'm never going to pick the Raiders to win another game after what they did to me when they took on the Bills. So I'm going with the Patriots.
All right.
Better Bet Home Favorite Edition. Bills over Dolphins or Browns over the Ravens.
Oh, neither. Better bet, though? Woof. Better bet. I would say, man, this one's got me. This one's got me, Anthony. You know, every now and you get that one and you're like, yeah.
That's good, though.
Better bet,
making you think.
I think, is Cleveland over Baltimore. The reason being is Myles Garrett just absolutely driving Lamar Jackson crazy. That offense, for me, has been mid. It's fine. Obviously, the Ravens have proven that they can be beaten. The Dolphins, though, I mean, that team is just an absolute offensive juggernaut right now.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Bills because they're running the ball effectively with James Cook, and you're going to have to run the ball if you're going to slow down Miami. If you get into a shootout or try to take Miami, why bring Miami's game to the front door? Josh Allen throwing all over the yard. I know he's got Stephon Diggs. I know he's got weapons, but Josh Allen, as we've talked about, he also has a penchant for throwing interceptions because he's forcing it. If you could stay balanced, your defense is good enough to hang. You know this opponent well. I think it's the Bills. The Browns, I love the defense. It's just the offense I don't trust at all.
I'm with you on that.
So I'm going to go with the Bills on this one. That's a fascinating matchup.
I'm going with the Browns over the Ravens. Sort of similar to what I said about the Cowboys. Didn't like what the Ravens did last week against the Indianapolis Colts. The Dolphins put up 70 points. It's not winter time yet, so I'm going with the Dolphins. Next one, better bet rebound edition. The Jags over the Falcons or the Saints over the Bucks?
I'm going to go with the Saints over the Bucks. Believe it or not, even with potentially famous Jameis.
What? It's my Bucks, Anthony.
The Saints have won 7 of the last 10 matchups. The last 2 Bucks wins came last year because of Tom Brady, but it was a 17-16 win for the Bucks and a 20-10 win for the Bucks. Otherwise, the Saints have owned this matchup. I think Shaky Bakey and company got exposed.
No, really?
On Monday.
Yeah, well, buck you, Anthony. Okay?
Stop the run. You beat the Bucks.
I'm going Jacksonville on this one. Lawrence is going to just run a train.
Stop the run. You beat the Falcons. So, yeah.
Going to run a train all over that Falcons team.
You think so, huh?
Back and forth, all over the place.
Wow, that was graphic. They have some weird-looking trains, too, in London.
They do, but they're fast.
They are, okay.
They're fast. They get the job done quickly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to go with the Saints over the Bucks.
How'd you go train over a bus?
Oh, every day.
I'm just saying those, like, London bus, I feel like that's kind of a bigger thing.
The red ones?
Yeah.
The double-deckers?
Yeah.
I mean, those are fun for everyone, but for me, I like the big, speedy ones.
Okay.
Marsh, you were saying? Sorry.
Yeah, the Saints over the Bucks. Anthony, I really like your Falcons this week.
Why are you doing that?
I know. What are you talking about?
Why are you doing that?
What are you talking about?
Last week you took them too.
Yeah.
I feel like you are putting the NFL Pick'em Challenge in jeopardy because of your personal feelings about the Vikings and Falcons.
What are you talking about? I'm simply making a pick. It's not my fault you don't have confidence in your own team.
You know, you hate Desmond Ridder. You think he's the worst quarterback in the league.
Well,
and he might be.
He's not statistically, but he might be in the conversation.
He'll be there at some point. We know
Really?
it. Ritter's not good. He can't throw.
I know.
Jacksonville.
Anthony. It's terrible.
He has
Jacksonville,
no idea where he's going.
4-5 in London. The Falcons are 1-1. You know, I just like the Falcons in this game.
The best
They're
right
the best
here,
of the
baby.
worst out of the London
This is what
games.
we're giving London, by the way.
They never get
It's
anything
the Toy
good.
Story game.
They don't. They never.
You know?
I mean, it's always the Jaguars.
Well, yeah, obviously. I get that part.
And then it's always like the Saints and Vikings.
Ugh.
I feel like we've seen Saints, Vikings, and Falcons, Jaguars in London multiple times.
Let's not forget that Jameis Winston is playing in a revenge game.
That's very true.
This week, it's got to be the Saints over the Bucks. I even think Taysom Hill will get some work this week as well.
The punt coverage.
Well, he'll probably be
And
on the
red zone.
Yeah,
He's,
he'll be everywhere.
Everything.
Yeah, he's a utility player.
Punt coverage,
Yeah, he should be on the
kickoff,
Cardinals.
return.
He probably played in the outfield.
Probably. Add him to the outfield. Put him in a corner spot.
Well, I could go wrong.
All right, better bet first win edition. Vikings over Panthers or Broncos over the Bears?
This one's easy. Easy.
Vikings.
Let Russ cook, baby.
What?
Broncos over the Bears.
Wow.
This game will be the least watched game ever in the NFL history.
I think
ever,
people
Bob.
might want to watch it just to see
Why?
how bad it is.
Okay,
It is kind of the dysfunctional bowl.
they'll watch it for 5-10 minutes, and then they're on to a real
Yeah.
game.
They're like, I'm going to tune it. This is terrible.
This is so bad.
Where is Bills Dolphins?
Yeah. I actually have the Broncos over the Bears. I do think the Vikings will beat the Panthers as well, but I think it'd be, I don't know, it's more of a storyline here to have these two horse crap teams playing each other to have one win.
I'm going to say Marsh's Vikings get their first dub.
Thank you, Anthony. Why you going to do that?
Hold on. It's the Panthers.
Oh boy, there it is. It's just the Panthers.
It's just the Panthers.
It's just the Pirates. They're better than the Cards right now.
This season, they absolutely are. All right, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Did you make your selection?
I did not. I also have the Vikings over the Panthers. I do have the Broncos beating the Bears. However, the Broncos last week, in total net yards per play, gave up 10.2 yards per play.
They gave up a first down per play.
Every single play. In terms of net rushing yards, the average rushing yards was 8.1. So if Justin Fields doesn't want to run the ball, throw the ball, he can certainly run the ball for at least 8 yards.
You would think.
So I think that's a toss-up. It's definitely a pick, and we'll talk about it tomorrow.
What could hinder the forward group for the Blues this season? We'll get into that next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie, I know you're like me. You get older and you say to yourself, I don't know that. I don't know that. When you're younger, you're like, I know everything. Now I don't know about interest rates. I don't know where the market is going. I don't know how the interest rates impact my home loan. I don't know how they impact whether or not we get a house right now or anything like that. But we have a guy, and his name is Stewie, and he knows. It's nice to have a guy, somebody that's trusted, somebody that you know is going to save you money over the course of your loan. And if you have a simple question like, should I buy right now in this market? Stewie's going to be honest, direct, and he's going to follow up with you too.
That's why I don't worry about any of these questions at all. I don't care. I just pick up the phone. I call Stewie. I don't care. He's got the answer for me, or he's going to find a way to get me to the closing table.
Yep.
He's going to find a program that works best for me, whether it is, if you're buying a new home or a solution to all the debt that you've accrued, whatever it is, Stewie's got you covered. He's got your back. All you got to do is call him. And that number is 314-324-4440.
Again, 314-324-4440.
Or you can Google the bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
like I said, Veroni's got speed and skill, and he's got a good shot. He finds a way to score, and he finds a way to use his speed. If he wants to score more than he is already, just get to the inside more. That's the key. Like, he's going to score his goals on his shot from the outside and his opportunistic plays. But I think he can be a more consistent scorer by just getting on the inside more and getting around the net more. Because he's got good hands, and there's rebounds and things like that. He'll put them home.
That was Blues head coach Craig Berube. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter. What could hinder the forward group for the Blues this season? Could it be lack of shots funneled toward the net? Jamie, you had talked about that either yesterday or the day before. Is it as simple as just getting inside, something the Blues didn't do consistently last year? Which is important, Jamie.
Very.
Board battles. If you're going to be a team that is going to be heavy on the forecheck, boy, you better win your board battles. Making the first pass, transition. Execution.
I like where your head's at.
A little bit of everything, Jamie?
Yeah.
What's one thing that you really focus on?
Well, so the biggest thing that I pulled out of last year's lack of success was lack of sustained offensive zone puck possession.
Which
means you're controlling the puck in the offensive zone for an extended period of time.
So that, to me, would be winning your board battles, getting the puck in deep, but keeping it there, shot selection, getting people to the net, all of that. Because if you're just shooting from the outsides, like you said, it's an easy rebound, and you get your goaltender is going to make that save. Not a rebound, but your goaltender is going to make that save. He's going to get it over his defenseman, and boom, you're back on defense again.
Yeah, 100%. Look, the Blues were at the top of the food chain when it came to opportunities, chances off the rush, which means that the attacking forwards are up the ice from neutral zone or their defensive zone into the offensive zone, getting a shot on net. Problem with that is that's not necessarily the right play selection. That's a all or nothing play. You either score on that one or the other team gets it, and you don't have any sustained offensive zone time. And that's the type of play that screws up your defensive structure, because your defensemen who are trying to get up the ice and support the attack and close the gaps, they can't, because the puck, before they know it, is coming back at them in a defensive way. So they've got to pause to tap the brakes and respond defensively, which creates a big gap between the forwards and the defensemen, which means the other team's creating team speed and coming at those defensemen at 100 miles an hour. So sometimes the better play is not to just shoot it from the far boards. It's to chip it into the corner, have your teammate go get it, protect the puck, cycle it down low, cycle it again. Now your defensemen are in the zone. Now you pass the puck from low to high, which means from the goal line to the blue line, spreading out that defensive coverage. The defensemen are now involved. The gaps are tight. Everything's good. You're wearing down the opponent. So I think that's part of the game this year where the Blues have to have more offensive zone puck possession time, which comes down to better puck decisions off of the rush. So that's step one. Step two is putting more pucks to the net, but not just from anywhere. Like the whole funnel the pucks to the net thing, it doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore unless you have bodies in front of the net. If you have bodies or layers in front of the net, all the layers are, it's bodies, but it's a fancier way of saying it, to where you can have two guys down in front of the net right on the goal crease. Not necessarily the biggest advantage. Want to know why? Because if a rebound pops out past those two guys, what are they now? They're trapped. They're on the wrong side of the puck now. And now they're chasing the game back towards their defensive end. So what you want is you want layers in front of the net. You want one guy at the top of the paint, the next guy in the slot, which is right between the hash marks in the middle of the big circles.
Yeah.
That's where you want double layers of net front presence. Now when you get pucks into that area, if the guy who's up a little higher between the hash marks, if he has to converge down upon a rebound, well, that's easy. It's easier to go to the puck than to chase the puck. And so that's what the Blues need. Good inside presence in front of the net with layers of forward presence. And they have to have good selections of what they're doing with the puck from the outside. Control the puck. If the shot's not there, get it to the point. I think the Blues can do a much better job of utilizing the defensemen this year. But there's got to be a trust factor there. The lack of trust comes from the forwards passing it to the defenseman and the defenseman not making a good play and turning the puck over. Nothing that a forward hates more than to get offensive zone time and then have to chase the puck back to their end and play defense. So there's a trust factor there. When the puck goes up high to the defenseman, they have to make good puck decisions. It doesn't mean scoring goals. It just means not shooting into shin pads. It means, not holding onto the puck forever. It means putting the puck back into an area where your forwards can get it. Either you make a play back down the wall and you continue to possess the puck, or you put it to an area where there's a 50-50 puck battle and your team can get it back. Ultimately, you'd like to see your defenseman be able to walk the line and get a shot through to the net with your layers of players in front of the net. So that's another part of it. The Blues defensemen were not as much a part of the offense last year for several reasons. We already talked about the one and done off the rush. Defenseman can't get involved there. Talked about not having net front presence. Well, you want your defenseman to shoot the puck more? Get somebody in front of the net. And that's as a defenseman, you tell the forwards all the time. We'll get the puck to the net. There's nobody there. Why? I don't feel like warming up the goalie right now.
Yeah.
He's fine. I saw him. He's warmed up.
Stop. Yeah,
he's good.
Okay, so what else happens? And let's say you do get the layers that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine that the Blues never got layers last year.
Very seldom.
Okay.
It wasn't good.
All right.
They did not have.
What were they doing?
Off the rush. So off the rush, you get one guy that's kind of going to the net, and then when the puck hits the goalie or misses the net or whatever,
you can't go back.
There's nothing there then. You have no sustained pressure, and your defensemen can't gap up as fast as you need them to. And even if they do, they're at risk of having the puck being chipped behind them, and now it's a foot race back the other way, which created odd man rushes, which the Blues gave up a lot of those last year.
Right. Then Binnington gives up a goal. The damn Binnington.
Yeah, Dan Binnington. What the hell is he doing?
Right.
Well, it's his 5th 2-on-1 in the period. Sorry about that.
He blocked the first 4, but yeah the one got through.
So to kind of put a bow on all of it here is this team has to be much better with play selection and then protecting the puck down low and then layers of bodies at the front of the net. They do that. It's more of a 2019 look, again, a 2020 look for that matter, because the following season, people forget how good the Blues really were again until the bubble, which is unfortunate. But that, to me, is what will make the Blues successful. And that, to me, is what they're building on right now.
Yeah.
With the roster construction that they have right now, they have a number of guys that are getting to the front of the net. Guys know the assignment. We talk about Chiefs giving you the answers to the test, right? He did. And guys are using them now. Sonny, Richie, McEachern, Walker, Shen, Neighbors, Sod. These are all guys that in 3 games have been a net front presence. It's what you need if you're going to win.
That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter, and the Fast Lane, will be live this Friday from 2 to 6 at Auto Centers Nissan in Herculaneum. They have their huge anniversary sale going on right now. You could check out the live broadcast while also checking out your next new ride. 750 new and used vehicles of almost every make in stock, discounted, and ready for sale at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. Plus, you could spin. You got a wheel. I saw it. Cool. Kind of looks like our wheel for the Gauntlet, in fact. You could spin, get an additional $1,000 off, register to win a new Polaris ATV, and more. Fast Lane, that's us, live this Friday from Auto Centers Nissan's huge anniversary sale out in Herculaneum. Hope to see you there. What's Trending is next on 101 ESPN.
what's going on in the world of sports? The Fast Lane has you covered with what's trending now.
Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate to Goodwill and get a Lion's Choice sandwich coupon.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Andrew Marsh, Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers. It's time for What's Trending. And Jamie, the Blues taking on the Chicago Blackhawks tonight. Preseason, we'll get a first look. Well, I guess not technically the first look, as they played Connor Bedard in, what would you call that? The prospect camp.
Didn't count.
We don't count that, but technically we're getting our first look at the number 1 overall pick in Connor Bedard tonight. What are you expecting to see from him?
Yeah, well, first of all, people who are wanting to catch all of that action can tune in here to 101 ESPN. Chris Kerber, Joey Vitale on the call. If you don't have a radio in front of you, though, you can watch it on NHL Network tonight. They are covering the games. Their featured preseason game of the night. For obvious reasons, Connor Bedard is playing. I'm anxious to see how this looks. They got him playing with Taylor Hall and Ryan Donato, so a couple of pretty good players, Taylor Hall specifically. I don't know what to expect. I'm curious to see how Connor Bedard competes against NHL players. Now, not all of the guys the Blues are icing tonight will be playing in the NHL, so there's still some gaps there. But overall, he's playing against a lineup full of men. He's got some pretty good players out there tonight for the Blues that are going to be competing against Connor Bedard. I don't know what to expect exactly, but I'm anxious to see how he plays. I'm excited to see, if the hype matches the production. And I know it's his first game.
Yeah.
But I just want to see what he's got. Is he fast? That release that he's got, does it play in the NHL? Are the guys all over him? Is he able to create offense? And he'll get better every single game. And just because I've said before I'm just unsure about what he can do right away, doesn't mean he's not going to turn into an absolutely dominant player. Mm-hmm. I said the same things about Mitch Marner. When he broke into the league with Toronto, I was like, he's small. I don't know if it translates. I'm man enough to admit I was wrong. It translated. Mitch Marner's been a friggin' phenomenal player every single year he's played. So Connor Bedard might be the exact same thing. But I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, it's good for the NHL. Whether you think he's going to make it or not, whether you think he's going to be a superstar or he's going to be a bust, it builds hype for the NHL. This is a good thing. You want to tune in, regardless of what team it is, to see how the kid's going to play, and that's in any sport. I mean, when you look at like the NBA and look at some of the top players that have come out. Yeah, they're going to play for bad teams. You're just interested to see how it looks, though. Same thing with a quarterback that's taken number 1 overall. Franchise savior, right? First preseason game. Doesn't count, but you want to see how it looks. I remember when Dak Prescott, who was not hyped up, he was, I think, a 3rd or 4th round pick. He was a 4th round pick out of Mississippi State. And you watch him in preseason, you're like, oh, he looks like he belongs. You kind of want to see that, I think, out of any rookie player. So it's going to be fun tonight.
I wonder what St. Louis fans are thinking right now, because if you're a hockey fan, you do want to see him play, and you want to see what he can do. As a Blues fan, I hope he's not that good. I hope he's not that good.
Yeah, true.
As a St. Louis fan, I could care less about Connor Bedard.
Exactly.
I don't care at all. I hope he's a failure. I hope he flops.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I hope he sucks.
Yeah.
But as a hockey fan, you want to see talent.
Hockey fan, part 2. First thing is a Blues fan.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many people that are Blues fans that are not necessarily hockey fans.
That's fair.
And so as a Blues fan, I hope Connor Bedard sucks.
As
a hockey fan, I'm intrigued to see how he does.
Yeah. I'm intrigued to see how he doesn't play well.
Probably sucks.
Jamie, you sent me this.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to ask you guys any question, like this one question. Do you have animals?
Several.
You have pets.
We've got 2 dogs, a cat, and a bearded dragon in the Rivers household currently.
Wow. Okay, so you're actually closer to what I'm about to bring up. Anthony, how about you?
No. So with the young ones, so first of all, my son Killian has bad asthma. Mm-hmm. So it's very tough to have pets, but they're so young right now too. It wouldn't be fair to bring in a young dog or cat. Mm-hmm. But again, Killian's asthma kind of takes a lot of the animals out. But we do have a pond that the previous owner had put in a long time ago that we have maintained, and we've got fish, got some goldfish and some koi back there.
Okay, so Jamie, you have a reptile. And Anthony, you have water in the back of your...
and fish.
Yeah, so that actually fits perfectly with what this guy has as a pet or a service animal. A Phillies fan tried to come into the game last night with what they said was a service animal. That animal happened to be an alligator. Okay. They brought in an alligator, or tried to a baseball game.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, first of all, are you even surprised in Philadelphia that this would happen?
Kind of. This sounds like more of a Florida thing to me.
Well, I'm not all that surprised. What I'm really surprised about is that they don't have the gator's mouth closed with either one of those elastic things or the tape that they use.
Yeah.
No, that gator's just free to roam about the cabin if he wants to here.
Wow.
And
I'm shocked he didn't get in.
Yeah, an emotional support pet. So where are you guys at on that? First of all, because this is kind of, I mean, it's a total Philly or a Florida thing to do.
Yeah.
To have something that is completely out of the realm of possibility and then it just happens. But where are you guys on the emotional support animals? Like, where do you draw the line? Because you can, like, anything now.
Yeah.
Like, you can have, I don't even know, a tarantula, and you could say it's my emotional support animal.
Okay, I think. This is
so. Where do you draw the line?
Tough,
because people have different, things that they have emotional support. But I think that when you're doing that, when you're allowing them to have that,
right?
I think that the general public has to be taken into consideration as well.
Yes. Can you train an alligator? How well can you train an alligator?
How well can you train a dragon? Seems like they did a pretty good job in the movie.
He did a really good job.
Yeah,
Rare Dragon too did a great job.
But a service animal that's a dog, well trained. I don't know how well trained an alligator can be, so I think I'd cut it off at like how well can you train this animal?
Some people have emotional support horses.
That makes sense. I don't know if a horse should be sitting with you at a Blues game.
I'm with I'm with you.
That's just me.
But that's where I kind of...
I don't know if you bring Secretariat to Blackhawks and Blues tonight. I mean, that might be just me.
I'm here for it. Like when they score a goal, the horse runs out and you run the horse in the concourse. I mean, that'd be
kind of cool.
I mean, that'd be really safe, right?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of fired up for that now.
That would be pretty cool.
That's another Blues goal. And you got
Secretariat doing laps.
Maybe instead of throwing catfish on the ice like the Nashville Predators fans do.
You throw horses on the ice?
No, we'll throw these alligators on the ice.
I thought you were going to say a horse poop or something like that.
No.
I don't think we should be throwing gators. They're animals too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I draw
They've
the
been
line
around
with
a long time too.
Like small animals.
How about something that just makes sense?
Right. Yeah, let's just use common sense.
If you walk around with a snake on a plane,
right?
I've seen that before.
We've seen documentaries.
It's happened. But if you want to have an emotional support like ferret or chinchilla or something, I'm fine. Go for it.
Yeah.
It's snuggly. It's whatever. I could see how it would be comforting for someone.
Sure.
An alligator, I just don't know if you're wrapping, your arms around that when this is my emotional support animal.
Yeah.
I've had reptiles before, currently do have a reptile. I don't want to say they're emotionless, but it's pretty darn close.
Yeah.
They don't really care about you. Just feed me and clean up my poop.
I'm thinking that that emotional alligator, if you really think about it, if you were to pass alone in your house. Yes. Now you become the emotion.
Yeah. Oh, you're the support
substance.
You're my digestive support system.
I'm just saying.
You're right.
Like, he really liked Chomps. He loved Chomps. Chomps ate him though. He he got him. That's tough.
That's a tough look for sure. Last bit of news here. Colorado's Travis Hunter, who was injured by Colorado State's Henry Blackburn. We've talked about that before. When it happened, those two met up and went bowling together and have
good for them.
Essentially mended. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think Dion had a part of that too. I do. I think Dion was the one, of course, the power of Dion. I think Dion was the one who arranged for for them to be connected. And the reason he did that was because the other young man was receiving death threats.
Right.
His family was receiving death threats.
Yeah.
Dion went public with saying that, no, that's not okay. Was it a questionable play? Maybe. But this kid's a human being. He's just trying to play football. Stop with the insanity. And so I think Dion went one step further and connected them. And this is kind of
great.
So now, like, all the Colorado fans who are out of their minds see this and go, I should probably just shut up now.
Yeah, I should probably chill out.
But that just goes to the people want to dog on Dion and Oregon coach, and all these people want to yell at the clicks and the this and the that.
Yeah.
He's out there taking care of things, too. He's taking care of young men. He's diffusing a crazy situation. You could say, one would say, well, he caused it. No, he didn't cause it.
He didn't cause it.
He brought a lot of hype to the game,
but
he didn't cause death threats.
No, and he didn't cause Colorado State playing well after the whistle either.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so Colorado State wanted to set a tempo that night. Okay, you could do that between the whistles, you know, and you could do that between the lines. And Hunter didn't. Hunter unfortunately was a victim of that, but good for Dion for patching those two.
Apparently there was one of the kids' brothers too. They have brothers that play on both teams. But I did read earlier today that Dion did have something to do with it. So I'll go back and read it. Maybe he talked to the player on his team and got them connected. I don't know.
Sure.
But the two brothers helped out for sure. So appreciate the information.
And I think that's a big character move on Travis Hunter's part as well, to want to do that.
Yeah.
I think it says a lot about him.
No doubt. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, I'm Anthony Stalter. Chris Kerber is going to join us next. Voice of the Blues ahead of tonight's Blues and Blackhawks pregame. We'll get his thoughts on Eric Bedard next on... Not Eric. I keep doing that.
No, that's his brother, Anthony.
Keep doing that with Eric Bedard.
Yeah, no, it's his brother.
Connor Bedard.
Connor is the hockey player.
Yeah, that's my bad. I'll get that at some point. Eric Bedard. Connor Bedard. We'll get his thoughts on that. Much more tonight. Chris Kerber, Voice of the Blues here on 101 ESPN.
inside with the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Tonight, the Blues will take on the Blackhawks pregame right here on 101 ESPN starting at 6:30. It will be the debut of Connor Bedard. I'll get that name right at some point.
Anthony. Good job.
Eric Bedard.
I mean, nobody's been talking about him at all. You're fine.
No. I keep calling the poor kid Eric Bedard, who pitched for the Mariners and Orioles. And
his close friends call him Eric.
Yeah, I don't think so. Let's head to the 101 ESPN Celebrity Line, talk to the play-by-play man for your St. Louis Blues, Chris Kerber. What's up, Kerbs?
Hey, how are you, Anthony?
Well, if I could get Connor Bedard's name right, I think I'd be a lot better. I keep calling him Eric Bedard, the former pitcher. But other than that,
yeah, different guy, different sport, and they use different gear, but I could understand it.
Same last name, at least. Kerbs, what... You know, look, he's a Blackhawk. I get that, but he's also the number 1 overall pick. Are you kind of excited to at least see Connor Bedard take the ice tonight?
Yeah, you know what? Well, the Blues will be playing their 4th preseason game. This will be the first one for Chicago. So I think there's a lot of excitement to see Connor in a game and what he can do. You know, we've already seen some pretty cool things that he did in a couple of spectacular goals he had in the prospect camp that they had up in Minnesota. And apparently they had a ticketed event, you know, where they were doing some scrimmaging and stuff, and had about 500 people there, and he brought people out of their seats at that as well and talking to some folks around here. So it's an exciting time. It's a fortunate thing that the league allows teams to win the lottery so many times in so many years, and it's once again going to turn this franchise around. And look, what's really clear is they realize, look, we were going to go into a rebuild here in Chicago. And when they won that, they said, okay, it may not have to be as long as we thought it might have taken. So then they go out and they start signing some guys, and they sign guys like Corey Perry, and they get Taylor Hall, and they get Nick Foligno, and they said, okay, we're gonna have a young kid like this. We're gonna surround him with some grit and some veteran guys, and not make the mistake that the Oilers and the Sabres and the Toronto Maple Leafs have made in recent memory. And in doing so, they'll have a competitive team that'll be more entertaining to watch than the last couple that they've had.
Kerbs, the Blues, you just talked about it. They're playing their 4th preseason game. They've got a number of them, I think 8, I believe, total when all is said and done. What is something that you are looking forward to seeing the Blues continue to do, or something that you'd like them to make sure they accomplish during these preseason games?
You know, I saw last home game, Jamie, the real intent to hold on to the puck along the wall in the offensive zone. I thought at times we had some really good offensive zone time. Now, that didn't turn into chances at the net, and that's something that's going to need a little bit of adjusting to. But I think that's part of the progress there. So as camp moves on and we get to the final 2 weeks of it here, I'm going to start looking more at how the team is playing in front of their net. Is there more of that really conscious effort to stay in front of the goal and not make it as easy for teams to get in front of the net on our end? And then really how we are creating those offensive chances. We were, a season ago, we had a lot of one-and-done rushes. We were not a very good offensive zone time team, and Craig Berube wants to get back to that. So I think those are the two maybe team-wise looks I'm going to keep an eye on as these preseason games move on.
Kerbs, when you look at the Blues roster construction right now, Anthony and I were kind of talking about it earlier today. You know, all of these preseason games, not just isolated to the Blues, I am seeing a tremendous amount of physicality. And quite honestly, the gloves are being dropped all over the place. It's not reminiscent of the last couple of seasons I've looked at for preseason. But with the Blues roster construction, do you think that Army might be a little ahead of the curve, bringing in some of those big bodies and adding some physicality?
Well, and not only that, maybe, and that understanding of what you need. Like, well, you know, Jimmy, you've seen this. The regular season, and I don't care if it's a non-Olympic year, non-World Cup year, non-whatever year that causes a pause in the season. It's still 82 games in a short amount of time. It is a grind, and it is hard to stay healthy. And sometimes those smaller bodies, you know, can get worn down pretty quick. Sometimes those bodies with not enough muscle on them get worn down pretty quick. And then when you get to the playoffs, look at the game. size and stuff still matters in winning some of those battles and what it takes to pull out a long series when you're playing every other day and sometimes having, single, double, triple overtime games in there. So I think Doug Armstrong and Craig Berube realized that. They brought him in. I also think, and this is just, pure opinion on this one, not really having talked the topic with anybody, but you're in the last year of that flat cap. And so there hasn't been a whole lot of adjustments teams can really make to their team. You're having to see veteran guys sign 1-year contracts, maybe 2-year contracts, or for a lot less than they thought in some cases. Take of Vladimir Tarasenko, for example. And then you've got other guys coming in, and veteran guys like a Nick Ritchie saying, man, I'm 27 years old, and I'm fighting for a job on a regular basis now on a PTO. Well, okay, I know the coach, I know the style. I'm gonna do what I can to be seen. And sometimes with the flow of game and so many of these teams really playing similar styles, if you don't find a way to hit and get noticed and make yourself seen in training camp, it can be hard to make squads, and I think that's got to be part of it.
Chris Kerber joining us right now on the Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Kerbs, while watching these games thus far, has there been a group that has stood out to you? Whether it was a line, a defensive pairing, maybe it's just a singular player. What has kind of made you say, "Wow, that was a great player"? Maybe he's starting to stack up plays.
You know what? So I've only seen 2 of the 3 because I did not go. That's an old-fashioned phone ringing behind us. How cool is that? Like I'm watching an old episode of Mork and Mindy. The one guy, and I didn't see the Wichita game, but I'll tell you what, Malcolm Subban looked fantastic in the last game. And I guess both games that he's been in, he looked really good. And you say, well, that may not matter because, obviously it's going to be Hofer and it's going to be Bennington here in St. Louis. But we know that you're going to use a third goalie at some point in time over the course of a season. And I think that is really good to see. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, that in these games that I've seen so far, anyone else has really just jumped off the page. What I'm looking at more, Anthony, is, Perunovic is going to be back in there again. He had a really good first game, an okay second game. Let's see what he does with Colton Parayko in this game. I'm looking for things like that. You're going to see Bolduc tonight and Dean, and they're going to be on a line with Nick Ritchie, so they'll have some size. And just a chance to see how some of these guys do. As we move now into game 4, 5, 6, and Doug Armstrong has 8 games on the schedule. As we move in, we'll see if more of that gets there, because those first couple of games, sometimes it's just a matter about getting your skates under you, right? But so far, I haven't seen Sam Bitten, maybe, with his speed and what he did, maybe moves up a notch or 2 on the depth chart, earned another game. But honestly, I don't know that anyone's kind of surprised and said, man, keep an eye on this guy so far, because he's turning pages.
Yeah, it's been a little early for that. But Kerbs, to your point of Malcolm Subban, I was in Wichita and saw that game. He was incredible. He was absolutely incredible. I know he followed that up last game, too, with the Blues. And you're right, that third goalie depth is going to be important at some point this year for the Blues. And in talking to another player today, Sammy Blais, this is a player that's highly motivated as well. And, he's getting opportunity out there playing on a power play, playing on a third-line role. What do you see for Sammy Blais this year overall? And, in your opinion, what does he have to do to keep that going?
Well, look, there's one thing very clear, for a guy like Sammy Blais. You have to go in the corners, you have to use your physicality, you have to hit. And then you've got to get to the front of the net, and he's going to find pucks to the front of the net and score. He's got that ability, and Sammy Blais has a real opportunity this year, and maybe the best opportunity he's had, in my opinion, in his entire career, to have a role, be successful at that role, and then earn a multi-year contract as a free agent. And he's got the ability, he's got the speed, and he's got the size. So for him, it's going to be a matter of staying consistent to that game and doing it. So it's time, at his age now, it's time to see that game consistency, that pro consistency every single day on the ice in practice and everything. And you know how long it can take some guys to learn that. And it's just a growth and maturation process. But to me, that's where it's got to be. Go in the corners and get to the net and play that role where your size is valuable. And because anything short of that, and there's not much more to his game. Like right now, Sammy Blais is not looked at as a power play player, as a penalty killer. A guy like Alexei Toropchenko is getting penalty kill time. There's other aspects for Sammy. It's 5-on-5 right now, and he needs to take advantage of it.
Curbs, good stuff. And we know that you're getting ready for the pregame show at 6:30, and, of course, the call of tonight's Blues and Blackhawks. We'll be tuned in.
All right, you got it, guys. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks, Curbs. That's Chris Kerber.
Cheers.
Voice of the Blues here on 101 ESPN. You'll hear him, again, coming up at 6:30 when we got the pregame for the Blues and the Blackhawks. Biggest question of the day next in the Fast Lane.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. After losing last night 3-2 to the Brewers, the Cardinals trail the Brewers 3-0. Top 9, 2 outs as Yuniel Kiriakuto is up to bat. So 3-0 Brewers in the top of the 9th inning. 6:30. Pregame starts for the Blues and the Blackhawks. Puck drop is at 7:30, and you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. If you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the 101 mobile app. You'll find our interviews with Matt Holliday and Chris Kerber today. You'll also find the full show there, and it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. This Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
It's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. You heard the big voice. Time to do the biggest question of the day.
All right, guys, I got a question from the 618. Out of all of the young guys that are in starting rotation for the Cards, who are you most intrigued by? Me personally, I would like an extended look at Dakota Hudson and Zach Thompson as options for the 4-5 slots or competition for the 5 spot. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not interested in Dakota Hudson at all. Zach Thompson intrigues me, and the reason he intrigues me is he's pitched pretty solid this year, going through kind of weird circumstances. Mm-hmm. He was going to be a big part of the bullpen. Then he was back down in the minors to stretch him out and be a starter.
Yeah.
And he's back up in the majors as a starter. He pitched pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I never felt nervous this year. Like, was he a stud or an ace? No. But he got you 4 or 5 innings, and even though, like, he wasn't stretched out fully, they didn't even want to pitch him as a starter when they did, because they didn't think he was ready to pitch. Remember, he had the 3 or 4 inning cap on him at first. You know, that's all we're doing. We're 85 pitches and we're done. Mm-hmm. You know, or 80 pitches, whatever the hell it was. So I'm intrigued by Zach Thompson. I think he's going to get bigger. I think he's going to get stronger. I think he's going to bring more of an arsenal. He already has a 4-pitch arsenal. Now he uses the changeup sparingly. I think it's under 5%, but he still has it.
Yeah.
So for me, there's a lot of upside there.
Yeah, for me, you and I are thinking similar here. I want to see the Cardinals go outside of the organization to improve this rotation. If they do consider the internal options, great. Bring them to spring training, have them compete. I think all that is fantastic. But when it comes to guys like Dakota Hudson, I think he's better suited for the bullpen. I think we know what he is. You know, if he winds up being your 5th starter, is it terrible? It's not terrible, but that to me that means that, one, you didn't sign enough guys in free agency or make enough moves in the offseason to improve the starting rotation, and or your other top internal options didn't beat out Dakota Hudson. No offense to him, but like we know exactly what Hudson is, and we know what he isn't. So if your internal options do not beat out Hudson, or your front office wasn't aggressive enough or allowed to be aggressive enough to improve the starting rotation, I think that in and of itself is part of the issue. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Cardinals, by the way, they trail the Brewers 3-0 right now in the top of the 9th. Mason Wynn does have an opportunity to extend this game with runners at first and second, so we'll kind of keep you updated on that one. But fortunately, the season is almost over for this Cardinals team.
Way to go, Anthony.
3-0 final, by the way.
A pop out to the catcher.
Yeah.
Did you expect anything differently?
Well, I was thinking maybe a ground ball to the right side. Maybe get thrown out at home.
He almost golfed one out.
He did,
It was foul, though. So, yeah, the Brewers beat the Cardinals 3-0 in the regular season series finale between the two teams. Brewers going to the playoffs, Cardinals going golfing. Tonight, Thursday Night Football, you got the Lions and Packers. Should be a good matchup. I'm excited to kind of tune into that one.
It's going to be a good game.
You guys got your picks in?
I do.
For the NFL Pick'em Challenge?
I do.
We're up 3-0 right now on the Rizzuto Show. They've made it personal.
Who are we going with?
Do we say?
I don't think it matters like this early, does it?
I mean, the Lions.
I went with the Packers.
You could go with all road teams.
You could.
Now, I don't know why you do that.
I went with a whole bunch.
The road teams do look good this week.
Yeah.
I went with the Packers, too, by the way.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
You went the Packers, too?
Yeah.
Early look, there's a lot of people on the Lions.
I think the Lions are going to Lion tonight. You know?
What's that rip their faces off?
No. That game last year,
Yeah.
as much as we're going to talk about how big of a game it was for Detroit, it didn't matter. There was no implications other than the Packers missing the playoffs.
Does it make it more impressive, though, to do that? Because they found out like an hour before kickoff that they were eliminated, and they still played hard.
That's fair.
That's impressive. And the Packers still squandered it. I remember that game, though. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers were in the red zone pretty consistently that night. They just didn't convert, which is one of the reasons why I kept saying this summer, like, Aaron Rodgers didn't play well last year. I think that this winds up being a really good litmus test for the Lions. Jared Goff is the more experienced quarterback. He got a team to the damn Super Bowl. You should win this game if you're the Lions. You're favored on the road. It's a divisional matchup. You won here last year. You got the more experienced quarterback. You were the more hyped team. Nobody knew what Jordan Love really was. This is a game you should win if you're the Lions. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's not like the Lions are playing the Denver Broncos or Chicago Bears right now. But this is a nice early season test. You passed the first one when you knocked off Kansas City in their house. Then you turned around, you lioned all over yourself against the Seahawks, but then you rebound.
I don't like you saying it that way.
You kept the Falcons. You held the Falcons at 6 points, 2 field goals. That was it. Short week though. Short week. You're traveling, but come on. Am I wrong, Jamie? You got the better quarterback. You got the better quarterback. You got supposed to be the better team. This game you got to win.
Yeah, no, I think every game you got to win, Anthony. That's why you go up there and you play hard to win.
You play to win the game.
Who the hell goes to play and lose? I mean, apart from certain teams here locally.
Well, Denver, I think you got to talk to them.
Who does that kind of thing?
Broncos.
Yeah.
Bears, I think, are trying to lose at this point.
Well, that's going to be an interesting one. Right?
Both trying to lose.
Who wants it more?
We got the text about the Broncos and Bears game could end in a tie.
I could.
Oh, that would be great.
0-0.
No, that would mean the teams would have to play defense. Like, what would be a great? See, to me, it's like 16-16.
Yeah.
You know,
it's just either way.
I'm thinking maybe like 9-6.
9-6.
But like, it wasn't 3 field goals. It was a touchdown and a safety.
Yeah, or a touchdown and a missed extra point.
Or it's like 6-4.
And a beautiful day in Chicago too. Not a 9-6 game where it's snow or rain or you can't move the ball. 9-6, beautiful day in Chicago.
Yeah. I don't know. Going back to the Jared Goff thing, though, I don't know if he tries to do like a road Lambeau leap. I don't think he's going to be able to do it.
He wouldn't do that.
Well, he tried doing it at home last week. He could barely get up there.
Well, that's fair, but Jared, that is not in Jared Goff's personality to do the Lambeau leap. There's no way. In Green Bay, Jim Campbell would do it. I could see it. Jim Campbell. Wow, I am terrible. Dan Campbell would do it. Jim Campbell's not going to do it.
Soupy, there's no way he's getting up there. I've seen him lately. He's not getting there.
Can I swap out any other first names today?
Anthony,
Holy smokes.
You need to get some sleep or something tonight.
Hey, can we talk about... We didn't bring this up. Can we talk about Jamie Rivers being an absolute unit on the defensive line for Big Red?
Tell your story.
You know that. Have you heard that story before?
Well, I didn't know it until you sent it to me.
All right, so...
Me and Anthony.
Last night, Marshy, I forget where he sent me this video clip from the St. Louis football Cardinals and the big goal line stand. And one of the guys who was part of it was Jamie Rivers.
Yeah, it was.
So, a great defensive player for the Cardinals in his time. But the funny part of the story is years ago, somebody sent me a card to sign. And it came to my house, and I opened it up, and it was the football Cardinals Jamie Rivers.
No way.
Yeah. Jamie Rivers. Hi, Mr. Rivers. Real big fan of yours. Something like that. If you could please sign my card. I've enclosed a self-addressed envelope, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the card, and let's just be honest, it looks nothing like me. The Jamie Rivers played for the Cardinals was black. I am not. And so, it's as simple as that. And I play hockey. He plays football.
There's some differences.
There's some differences,
Yeah.
clearly.
As different as Eric Bedard and Connor Bedard.
Probably.
Or Jim Campbell and Dan Campbell, for
Yes,
sure.
most definitely. So I didn't really know how to handle it. So I got a card of mine and signed it and put it with his card of the other Jamie Rivers.
Yeah.
And wrote a little note and said, hey, wrong Jamie Rivers, but here's one for your collection.
Nice.
And I sent it back to him. He sent it back to me again, saying, this is such a funny story. I want you to keep this card. And I did.
Have it?
Yeah, I
That's
have it.
cool.
And I have this thing on my wall to where there's a bunch of little plastic holders in this big picture frame, so you can put any kind of cards that you collect. Well, I had somebody put together all of my playing cards
Nice.
are in this big frame, and there's a second one that's about half full, and there's the football one.
That's really cool. I love that. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, I'm Anthony Stalter. We'll wrap up the show. What you missed, criticisms, compliments next.
Ooh, baby. Thursday night football, and we got my Detroit Lions looking to lay the beat down on the Green Bay Packers. And the best part of it, I got FanDuel Sportsbook. Oh, baby, the best one in the business. Right now, all customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay for specifically Thursday night football. All you have to do is place a 3-leg same-game parlay on this week's game between the Lions and the Packers, and you'll get bonus bets back if you don't win.
All right, so let's build this thing. You ready, Jamie?
Yeah.
Let's take the Packers plus 114 on the money line.
No.
Let's just build it together, okay?
I don't like it.
I'll give you one. How about this? Jamar Gibbs, anytime touchdown.
Yes.
That's at plus 130. We're stacking
Jared
some
Goff
plus.
plus 300 yards passing.
I'll take Jared Goff under 249 and a half. $10 wager gets us almost 100. So there you go. We built the same game parlay for you. You can do your own at FanDuel.com. Visit FanDuel.com/fast so you don't miss out on your chance to get that no-sweat same-game parlay on America's #1 sportsbook. It is FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NFL.
21 and over, present in Illinois. Refund issues non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
If you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN mobile app. Podcast brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We chatted with Chris Kerber today ahead of tonight's Blues and Blackhawks matchup. Don't forget pregame starting at 6:30 here on 101 ESPN. We also chatted with Matt Holliday. Talked to Matt about the defensive issues and really we talked about the Cardinals' defensive issues in the first segment, and then we brought in Matt, kind of clarify some things for us. How much do teams during the season work on fundamentals? How much you work on defensive plays and things like that? Well, Matt filled us in on that and a couple of other things. Played a bunch of games today, too. Hot take or hot garbage, NFL better bet. Thursday night preview. How big of a game is this? Not only for both teams, but the Lions specifically as they try to take hold here of the NFC North. And Jamie broke down the Minnesota Wilds and how they stack up against the Blues. Marsh, you've been laughing. You laughed all break, in fact.
Yeah.
Somebody's mic is...
I don't know what that is.
It's a hot mic. Is yours plugged in back there?
Is it your little thing again?
No.
Playing music?
Oh, my. The iPod?
What was that?
I think it's your mic.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think it's making it anymore, making that noise.
Plug it in the back there, Marsh.
Plug it in?
Yeah, plug it in.
It ain't mine. I haven't touched it.
There we go. Sound like aliens were trying to contact us.
Maybe.
Again.
Yeah, we got a text from our pal Moose. Y'all are awesome. I drive for work every week, up to about 15 hours a week behind the wheel. Listen to the Fast Lane religiously. Always makes my drives go by fast. Sugar, I'm coming for you in the Gauntlet soon someday. Marshy, Post 611, produces elite talent when it comes to regional radio broadcasting board operators and sales territory managers. I don't know what that means. Wow. Staltz, work on your names and you'll be all right. Just kidding, Staltz. Heard you're a menace in the beer league softball circuit. Who is that? Our buddy Moose, a.k.a. Sam. Who,
I
Sam.
thought it was Miles Michaelis.
No.
Moose, Sam, we appreciate you, man. That was an awesome text. Thank you.
Awesome.
That was fantastic.
I can
Thanks
see
for
where
listening.
the confusion, though, saying work on your names, it could translate to work on your boat names.
It's true.
I see where the confusion is.
Yeah, good call on that. Yeah, great text. Thank you.
This one's from Marsh's Burner. I wonder what it would be like if you guys didn't get nasty one day. Being nasty every day must be a workout.
It is.
It's a duty of ours, though.
Darn right it is. Yeah, good call on that.
I will get nasty every day as long as you tune in.
If you're there, we'll get nasty.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got a text from Tom on our YouTube page. Obviously, the Cardinals lost today 3-0. They lost yesterday 3-2. He said the Cards couldn't beat a drum.
No, drum 3, Cardinals 1.
It's a tough look right now for the Cardinals. They've got a lot of guys in the lineup that probably don't belong. They've got things going on. They got injuries. It's just they're just wanting this to be over, just like we are.
Yeah. So you got 3 games. 3 games against the Reds. You're done.
It's Wayno weekend.
It's Wayno weekend. That's right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Do we break down the set list tomorrow, or maybe instead of the lineup game, we play the set list?
Oh, that'd be a good idea.
You know,
well, they're all originals, though. We don't know
originals.
That's right. No, that's a good call. Yeah.
You can guess the names.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know.
Yeah, you got me on that.
Come on.
Speaking of music, though, we were talking about Taylor Swift earlier. We got a text from the 314 that said, you guys sound like TMZ.
Thank you.
TMZ's pretty popular.
I don't know what that
I don't know if that's a compliment.
It used to be an insult, but now TMZ's so mainstream. Like, they used to be the hot take paparazzi or catching you with your pants down type thing.
I think they still are.
Yeah, well, they are, but they're more of a mainstream media thing now. Do they focus on certain things? Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if it's an insult.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, sure. Hold on. It's us. It's up to us whether or not we want to take it as an insult, and we don't. We don't take it as an insult.
There you go.
No.
Speaking of Taylor Swift, though, Jamie brought up John Mayer. And that being her first album, we got a text from the 314. John Mayer was her third album.
Yeah.
Jamie, you loser, LOL.
No, I'm not a loser. Well,
wow.
I might be. I don't know. But what I meant was that was like her first real boyfriend, not her first album. Because she made an album about him after they broke up because she was like 19 and he was like 30, I think, or something like that. It was
what a creep.
Pretty much that's what the album's about. Is anything negative you can say about John Mayer, it's in song form.
Sure.
Creep.
Stone Temple Pilots wrote a song about him, too.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
The Lonely Island wrote a song about being a creep, too.
Oh, yeah.
So
with
did
Nicki Minaj, right? Yeah. How do you know that?
Radiohead did, too. Because I'm a creep.
That's a great song.
Lonely Island, they're fantastic. I know all their tunes.
Oh, okay.
Sure
Couldn't tell you a Taylor Swift one, but Lonely Island, I'm in. Yeah, Nicki Minaj was in that one.
She was.
Did you see the Michael Bolton?
I did, yeah. Cool guys don't look at explosions.
No.
No, that's not it. You're right.
Michael Bolton was the Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's right.
He was obsessed with...
This is the tale of Captain Jack Sparrow.
Jamie, did you get into those?
What?
The Lonely Island
No.
songs? No. You're missing out.
The one with T-Pain's pretty good.
I'm on a boat.
I'm on a... Oh, not that one. I'm on a boat.
Yeah.
I'm on a...
That's it.
That's from...
No, that you're
Step
thinking.
Brothers.
You're thinking of boats and
Boats
and hose. It's a different
That's why
album.
I was like, no, that's not it.
No, the T-Pain one you were actually singing. You were crediting though. What was their company? Prestige Worldwide. Yeah, you were crediting the other team. All right. Is that it, Marsh?
Yeah, by the way, it's Radiohead, not Stone Temple Pilots.
Stone Temple Pilots has a song "Creep" too, though.
Do they?
I'm pretty sure.
I'll take your word for it.
Anthony just stoltered us.
No, I didn't.
He did.
It's either the song "Creep" or the album's "Creep." No, "Creep" the song. Come on, guys. I know my STP.
Just go home and watch Eric Bedard.
Blues, Blackhawks pregame 6:30. Connor Bedard's there. See ya.